Hello, everyone, and welcome back into our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Sneaky alongside Fish getting ready to call all of the action. And Sneaky, last weekend we saw the Swiss play. 18 teams came in, only 8 teams survived until today. And we'll get all the way down to the winners finals today. We're going to have just a few teams left with those chances out of that prize money and everything else. Sneaky, I cannot wait for the day. I am so pumped.
We are so close right there. These final 8 teams going to be fighting for those points, for that money. It's going to be so close. It's going to be some very good matches we're going to see today.
In case you missed it, we can't go into the format, see exactly how we got here. Of course, if you are not familiar with the Calling All Heroes program, this is to help build an inclusive game and competitive environment for everyone and to help best serve members of the marginalized gender identity across the Overwatch community. But as I was saying, this is how we got here. Last weekend, we had 5 rounds of Swiss games. The top 8 teams from the Swiss bracket advanced to today's playoffs, where we will have an 8-team double elimination bracket, Sneaky, with $5,000 of prizing and some very crucial circuit points on the line for everybody today and tomorrow. And here is how that pricing breaks down. I've been told the points are more important, but I'm not going to lie, Sneaky. $2,000 is a nice chunk of change to walk away from.
Yeah, definitely a good little chunk you can keep yourself for your pocket, and those points really are important, going in that major. But yeah, I could agree with you there. That money, definitely a nice little something to keep going forward. And yeah, that double elimination stage, we're past the Swiss, so you do get that extra chance now. It's not like it's terrible if you do lose one match, but still on the line there, still on the line to sacrificing some of those points, some of that money that you could be receiving going further on into the bracket.
We do have one minor change for if you watched this last weekend. We are now going to go to first to 3 wins in our map pools here. If we take a look at the maps that are available. So no longer first to 2, you get a little bit more wiggle room. We've still got Control, Hybrid, Flashpoint, and then we'll go Push and Escort. So Push and Escort will be there on maps 4 and 5. If we get there, Sneaky, because right now everybody's in a hurry for that prize money. I look at the standing, it's 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. So I don't even know if we'll see anything past Flashpoint, but we do have those 5 maps available today, unlike last week where it was only first to 2 wins.
Yeah, these matches have been going by very fast. That first round in this double elimination, as you mentioned, Fish, was first to 2, and everything was a 2-0. Every single match that we saw so far was a 2-0, and now we get to go to that first to 3, but I don't know. I think you're right. There's a chance that all these teams just say, you know what, let's just go to the very end and let's finish this one strong.
As you mentioned, there is the bracket. So there are our 8 teams. Remember, if you're a fan of somebody like Fable, Shikami, you're not out of it yet. There is still a lower bracket that those teams are dropping down to. But meanwhile, we've got our 4 kind of standouts that we kind of were expecting to be here. Valiant Guardians, we were talking about this in the open, Sneaky. They're the only team undefeated right now, and I think a really good chance that they don't lose a game until potentially the grand finals. We won't see them versus Strix Blood, but we'll keep you updated. The match we're going to take a look at and the match we'll have on the stream today is Drainers versus Washington Timeless. A pair of teams that want to get revenge on Valiant Guardians because Valiant Guardians beat both these teams in the Swiss bracket.
Yeah, Valiant Guardians really is that sort of mitochondria of this tournament. But, right now, Timeless and Drainers have to be the teams that have to finish that before they can go up against that member. And also, not Drainers, my apologies. We have Guardians. They still have to beat Strix to go forward. So, like you mentioned, we are going to keep everyone updated. But first off, these 2 teams here, Timeless being really the underdog of this one, as they also did lose to Drainers in the Swiss bracket as well. So they've got to go for 2 matches if they want to reach that final one.
Yeah, that revenge aspect all around. I mean, interesting to see. I know you said that this was a close game between these teams in the Swiss bracket, so maybe they learned something. I know Washington Timeless last Saturday with myself and Dirty, they were kind of the cream of the crop, right? It was You've got the Washington Timeless name. Everyone thought they would be the team that's 5-0. So the fact that they faltered a little bit, maybe a little bit of pressure. And what do you think we're going to see? Of course, because as you mentioned, as we saw the bracket, Sneaky, they played the first round off stream. Now all of a sudden you've got the bright lights on. Do you think we're going to see any fumbles, anything kind of like small hiccups, or do you think these teams are ready to go and we're not even going to notice that they're live on stream right now?
I think these teams are ready to go. Right after getting that 2-0, I think both these teams have that momentum going into this matchup. So I think both of them are ready and fierce to get into it. And also they're both confident, right? I mean, we did see Timeless a little bit, and they ran the Junker Queen in a meta that is really prominent towards Orisa at the moment. So, I mean, Timeless, very, very confident. Drainers, we haven't seen too much of. So I'm curious to see what they're going to come out on. But I think they're confident as well. Like you mentioned, only team they've lost to so far has been Valiant Guardians. So that revenge arc is still there that they want to try to get to.
And as you said, you can't look ahead. You can't say, all right, we beat this team, we'll beat Valiant Guardians. No, I think Drainers has got to focus on the task at hand. And as we get ready to go, let's take a look at the lineups for these teams as they get ready to head in to our winners semi-finals here for Watching Timeless. We've got Bun, Snozlore, Sawhill, the Mauler, and Orion. Again, this is a team that we saw a couple times last weekend in the Swiss stage. Again, a team that looked very strong, but as you mentioned, Sneaky did have a couple of losses to Valiant Guardians, to Drainers. So now they've got to get revenge on the Drainer roster here, Sneaky, if you want to take that one to us.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Sawhill is going to do. I mean, we saw a lot of Sawhill already, and that the Junker Queen that Sawhill can play is there are no words to describe it, right? They are so incredibly good at that Junker Queen. Taking a look at this Drainers roster, some players that we've definitely seen before. One of them that I do want to mention is Kindred on the tank role here, Fish. A player that was very, very dominant playing in previous Calling All Heroes tournaments.
As you said, on that tank role, you were just hyping up Sawhill. That's going to be a battle we have to watch out for. They also have KJ, Senna, Chosen, and Lane as well. So two of the top teams, again, Drainers coming in, if you want to break it all down, as that second place team from the Swiss stage. Washington Timeless somewhere in the middle, depending on tiebreakers. But these feel like two of the top teams. And again, not that anyone's looking forward and saying we could take a loss, but this is double elimination. Cannot stress that enough. There is that ability to drop down to that lower bracket, fight your way back up, try and claim that prize money. So a loss isn't going to doom you, but I think, for me personally, all the pressure's on Washington Timeless, right? Drainers just look like a strong team. They just want Valiant Guardians to be their opponent. I think Washington Timeless kind of has to prove, maybe with that target on their back, that they can stand up to what everyone was expecting from them last weekend.
Yeah, and I agree. Like you said, when it comes to this double elimination, you do have that buffer if you still are in the winner's bracket where you can say, okay, cool, right? We can mess with this a little bit more, but you don't want to offer that loss, right? You don't want to be on that line of being eliminated, and Timeless has a lot to prove here, being that team that really did have all the spotlights on them. So seeing them go up against Drainers here, you got to be really, really prepared going into this matchup and not let the nerves get to you.
And as we get ready for this matchup, again, we'll start with Control, same as we did last weekend. Control kind of was all over the place. It will be Oasis. I know Hybrid was Numbani all day Saturday when I was there. Don't know if that changed on Sunday for you, Sneaky, but It feels like the team said, yeah, I'm curious if anyone is going to go off Numbani. I feel like that is just kind of like, we can just put it on the scoreboard graphic right now. I feel like that's where we're going. But what do you have for Oasis for these two teams? What do we need to watch out for here as we get ready to hop into game number 1 of our winner semifinals number 2?
I'm almost positive we will see Junker Queen come out from Sawhill. From Drainers, still unsure what we're going to see from them. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Kindred as well brings out a Junker Queen. I think both of these tank players are very, very good at Junker Queen from previous seasons that we've seen, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see a mirror. However, as we have seen from beforehand in last weekend's tournament, there was a lot of Orisa, a lot of that play, a lot of Symmetra going in as well. So seeing the Orisa come in is definitely still a capability going into this matchup here, but I think Junker Queen is going to be more likely for these two teams just because of the abilities of these two tank players.
I think the other thing to keep in mind, Sneaky, besides the tanks, is the supports.
Yes.
Saw a lot of support pop-off play. That Captive Sun absolutely dominating on that new support hero. Definitely something that you kind of got to keep your eye on if you're a DPS, because we even saw a couple flankers like the Tracer losing 1v1s to supports, which previous Overwatch metas was absolutely unheard of. Definitely something these teams have got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, we saw so many Iari play the games that it reached a point where you question if she is a DPS or not, and I think we definitely might see that. If we see Junker Queen, probably not, but definitely on these Orisa types of compositions, I would not be surprised to see that coming back out once more, and you do have to be very, very careful, because these support players are something else, Fish. They are absolutely incredible in how they can just take out these flankers, like you mentioned, some of these Tracers that come out from behind and just completely send them back to the spawn doors.
So we get ready again. It is winner semifinals number 2 here between Drainers and Washington Timeless. The winner moves on to those winner finals. Potentially Valiant Guardians, potentially Strix Blood waiting on the other side. Of course, we've got other matches down in the lower bracket here as well for our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. We'll keep you updated on all of it as we get ready to go here, Sneaky, and we'll see which team is going to strike first. We've got Drainers and Washington Timeless getting ready to go here, getting ready to battle it out on the point, see who makes first contact from either team. We do see Yes pushing up just a little bit. So far, damage being traded, some damage onto Bun as well. So far, no major struggles just quite yet. We do see the double Junker Queen that you were talking about, Sneaky, for both Sawhill and Kindred. Definitely a little off meta for both these teams. Control point 4 seconds away from unlocking. Orion taking low, going to be forced to burn that Immortality Field early for the orange team there, and Sawhill picks up the first kill onto Kindred. First tank matchup goes in Sawhill's favor, and that is massive, as that should help them unlock the point, though so far, nothing quite yet. It's even down Kindred, able to hang on now with a pick onto Chosen, as well as Yes, this should be a nice pickup and a win onto the point.
Yeah, that was a very long and long fight from the side of Drainers there, and that took so much ults as well. I mean, look at this. Sawhill already at 60, Orion 65, Mauler 65 as well here. Really good at getting up on these ultimate abilities, and that is going to be a major disadvantage going into this next fight here, as we're going to see they're trying to get on this high ground, but can't quite find it. Sawhill falls really low here, Fish.
Oh, Sawhill barely sustained. There's that Immortality Field. Going to be taken out by Kindred. But was it enough to help sustain? Snozlord staying alive. It gets the pick. But it's traded out 1 for 1. Kindred trying to do a great job on the redemption push here. Now Bun going down from Washington Timeless by the Genji. There's a couple ults available. We do see the ult coming out here from Chosen. And that looks like that might be enough for Drainers to regain control of this point. It's up to 50%. You can see Washington Timeless stalling out. Sawhill going to pop that ult as well. The Mauler going down. Washington Timeless does a great job getting up to 54% before it flips in Drainers' favor.
Yeah, that was really, really good from Timeless. However, one thing I do want to mention here is we saw 2 ultimates used from Washington Timeless and only 1 used from Drainers. They're going to be approaching 4 of their own here. That's going to set them up really, really well going into this next fight against Washington Timeless, who really the only thing they have to immediately press here is this amplification matrix from Orion. You don't quite have that overclock, and that's going to be a little bit risky. You need to charge that one up fast. A solid percentage for Washington Timeless, but Drainers will have the opportunity to ult first here and control that tempo.
Who's going to be the first one to ult? You see a couple more coming online. Snozlord is up. There's that Amp Matrix you were talking about, Sneaky, from Orion, but the Mauler immediately picked up on the overclock response from Senna and Drainers. A massive hit. Yes, going to take down Bun as well. And even with the ult first, Washington Timeless sent back to spawn with nothing to show for it.
Yeah, Drainers played that really, really well, just holding that high ground and kind of just waited for Timeless to make that first move, and immediately once they saw that window, they just went right past it with that commanding shout, using the overclock out there from Senna as well, and just took that fight, and now Drainers will start to take the lead against Timeless here, who only have that Dragon Blade coming out from Bun. Drainers going to be in a really good territory as both Dragon Blades will be used.
Neither Dragon Blade has picked up a kill quite yet. Yes, going to be the first one to fall. Orion and the Maul are picking up a pair of eliminations for Washington Timeless. The supports doing what they can to get their team back in it. The Sawhill will fall. This should be in a 4-on-2, just enough for Washington Timeless to flip the point. You can see Drainers pushing it up 82%, should now flip over. But what a great fight for Washington Timeless.
Really, really good fight indeed. And I'm a big ultimate guy myself, Fish, but this is really risky for Timeless here. 1-fight territory for Drainers. They're going to be close on this Kitsune rush, and frankly, I want to see the Drainers go at this really fast, get that ultimate ability, maybe take a little bit of poke to get that Kitsune rush fast, immediately use it, and go into this fight. But Chosen already forced to use the cleanse, and there's the Kitsune, Fish.
Chosen barely stayed alive. Now it's Bun's turn to be healed up lane as well. Everybody dropping low, but the health bar sustained. The support's working in overtime right now to keep everybody healthy. As you mentioned, it's last fight territory. We're up above 85%. It's going to be Genji on Genji. Crime is Yes is the first one to pick up an elimination. Can Washington Timeless hold on down 1 DPS? They almost get an elimination, and they do on to Kindred. Now they're going to get their own Kitsune rush from Orion if they want to pop it. They do have the sound barrier coming out from Mauler. Sawhill's going to ult as well, pick up a kill. And just like that, Washington Timeless looks like they have done it here on map 1 in overtime. There's the Kitsune Rush coming out from Orion, and that should be enough, Sneaky, to win map 1 for Washington Timeless as the stalls trying to come out here from Drainer. The Kindred will go down. They're throwing themselves at the point, but the health bars are just not sustaining. They even take out Lane before the ult goes off, and that should do it on game number 1 here for Washington Timeless. Eventually, Sneaky, there we go. Finally, overtime ends.
Yeah, and that was so unfortunate to see Lane almost having that beat, but was Ajax. But Timeless, what a solid performance. I did want to see the Kitsune come out from Drainers really, really early, and they did immediately once they used it, but the cleanse was forced as well, and I think that hurt Drainers a little bit there. And Timeless, since they were able to keep their supports, like you said, Fish, they were on overtime trying to get their support abilities up, get those ultimates on the line, and that's what they were able to do in the long run, and those ults really did come in clutch as Washington Timeless. Everyone was about 50% that fight, able to start building it directly back up, and then Drainers just not able to do anything and were in fact drained out of their own ultimate abilities. Washington Timeless going to be going on to this Reinhardt composition. I like the Symmetra Ryan here. You're going to have a lot of brawl capabilities, and Drainers are going to need to play this one fast.
Are going to get their Ryan up and ready to go up on the high ground for Washington Timeless. Meanwhile, Drainers kind of taking that low ground, looking to stand on the point. A little bit of poke going out, but so far, nothing major quite yet for either team. Have to keep an eye on Snozzler when that tank form is available. Will he be able to land a decent amount of poke onto this Drainers composition? Control point unlocked now. Let's see who's able to strike first. So far, still waiting for that first elimination, but it's Drainers health bars who are sitting at that 50%. Very uncomfortable right now for Drainers, but they're able to sustain and stay alive. But have they done any damage to Washington Timeless at this point? Everybody's health bars nice and full for Washington Timeless. We did see Drainers did get onto the point, so it is ticking up in their favor, up above 10% now. Kindred and Yes dropping very low, able to survive for now. Senna joining them in that 50% health club. Again, they're just not able to find any poke as Washington Timeless flips the point back in their favor. And this Ryan has been doing a great job blocking all incoming damage. There's Snozzler with the first elimination. Immortality Field going to go down. Kindred gets one back before they fall, and Washington Timeless, at the end of the day, does get the point, but that 70% for Drainers is nothing to snuff at.
No, not at all. Drainers were really lucky to get that percentage off because Timeless definitely could have taken this to a 40%, 50% mark because this is what their comp is all about. It's about sitting there, letting that transform on the Bastion just completely shred anything the Drainers throw in, including that commanding shout, and making it nearly impossible for Drainers to use any of their speeding in abilities. They will have Kitsune here and will probably use this first, but Sahil trying to get this ability up as Amplification Matrix is used.
Ryan gets that Amp Matrix down. They do have the artillery here as well. There's the Rampage from Kindred and the Kitsune Rush that you were talking about. And Washington Timeless might have been a little too late there on that Photon Barrier for Bun. They just get wiped back to spawn, and a great flip from Drainers on the back of a couple of ults.
Yeah, I really did like what Drainers did there. We see Orion use the Amplification Matrix, but then immediately Kindred and Chosen using their ultimates and finding those eliminations onto Timeless, just going fast and with the anti. No Kiriko to help the rest of Washington Timeless here, so that was really, really dangerous for Washington Timeless as the Artillery Strike is going to start this next fight here, Fish.
Artillery not able to get an elimination, but does get a great bunch of chip. Mauler and Snozzler follow up that chip with a pair of eliminations. It's already 4 down for Drainers before they can blink. And this back and forth battle continues here on map 2 of Control. Washington Timeless back in control.
And this is the good thing about this Reinhardt composition is you can lose fight after fight after fight, but you come back so incredibly fast that you say it's perfectly fine if I lose this fight. I can just come back and we're going to have ults to spare. And this is exactly what they have. I'm thinking we're going to see a Shadow come up from behind as Timeless is already behind them looking for it as the beat is the first thing used from Drainers.
Mauler has a beat in return as well. There is the shockwave from Sahil. Immortality Field going to go down as well. And there's the beat from Mauler. Going to land onto everyone. Lane the first one to fall. The blade coming out from Yes. Is it going to be enough as they get one elimination onto Orion before they fall? And now Drainers running out of time as they enter their final fight. Sneaky, they need to do something here. They're going to lose this map.
Oh, and that is a terrible stagger on Kindred. Now, Drainers not going to be able to take this final fight against Timeless with their tank, and Timeless has 2 ults, almost 3, coming out from Snozzler. Lane will fall, and this is going to be it for Timeless. It does look like here, unless this Overclock can find it.
Overclock does get one, gets a second as it expires. Potentially Senna with the clutch of the map, make it a 3K this fight, but they do get taken out by Snozlor, and that might be just enough for Watching Timeless Artillery going to come down. Once again, Drainers in stall mode, trying to find a way to flip this, but unfortunately all they're going to do is look like Pad the KDs of Washington Timeless. Chosen in lane going to come running in. Yes is the next one as well. They get eliminated, and that is going to be Control over to Washington Timeless.
Wow.
Maybe a minor upset here, at least on map number 1, Sneaky.
Yeah, and that was so incredibly close for Drainers to reach that flip on the point, but just not quite able to find it there. Senna really, really close on that Sojourn. Had, I think it was 3K there, and just so incredibly close to take that fight and find the clutch over the Sentry, but not quite able to find it there. Drainers were just struggling to meet that ult economy that the Washington Timeless had in their favor, including that speed that Washington Timeless was playing at. They were perfectly fine playing slow, letting Drainers use that commanding shout, using that amp speed, go into them. They were going to play safe. They were going to use Transform. And then immediately afterwards, it was their turn to go in, and that's what happened. And once that Reinhardt's on you, it's over in a sense.
I mean, I thought the Reinhardt pick was a fantastic pick for Washington Timeless. I mean, we came in talking, we expected to see a lot of the Orisa. That's what we saw last week. That's still the patch that we're on. Maybe some off-meta Junker Queen as well that, as you mentioned, Washington Timeless have done a great job pulling out. But that's kind of the things you've got to do when you've seen each other like these teams have. When Drainers picked up the win, I think Washington Timeless went to the drawing board over the weekend and said, how do we beat this team? And at least on Control, it was, let's bring out the Rhine. As you said, let's play with some speed. And at least on map 2, it felt like Drainers was just chasing and chasing. The first one, a little bit more back and forth, kind of came down to just a couple of clutch kills. But I think, and maybe I'm being biased because, we've seen enough 2-0s for the whole entire season. I think this is going to set up to be a little bit longer series than a quick 3-0 like we've seen from everything else so far.
Oh, absolutely. I can entirely see that coming to be, as Washington Timeless definitely performed very, very well this map. It is entirely possible for Drainers to bring this one back. There were definitely some very much signs of life and got really, really close there. 99-99, I believe, on round 1. And round 2, Drainers did struggle, but they were still able to get a lot of that percentage. I think it went up to about 70%. So definitely still in the capabilities for Drainers to bring this one back, tie the series up, as I believe Hybrid is the next one that we'll be going to. So going to be interesting to see, as it will be Drainers map pick, and I mean, Hybrid, what are we going to see here? Fish, probably Numbani out of everything.
Yeah, I fully expect to see Numbani. I think that is definitely going to be the pick. It's been the pick the entire time for every single team, at least that we've seen on stream. Can't say that, maybe we missed a team off stream. We apologize if you didn't pick Numbani. But yeah, I think we're going to see Numbani. I think it's going to be interesting because, again, we've seen Washington Timeless. We saw them a couple times last weekend. We haven't seen Drainer. There it is. We can officially celebrate that we were correct. It is Numbani. And I think it's just really going to come down to who can execute better. It felt like a lot of the Numbanis we saw, at least we saw last Saturday, were all the way to that final point, and who can stop someone from 3-capping, who can put on just enough defense on that final point to prevent the 3-time and then going to overtime. I'm really curious to see what Drainers has, because Washington Timeless feels like, look, they kind of came out, said, this is what we're going to do, we're going to bring the Rhine. I'm curious if somebody's going to try something else unconventional, because that's what it feels like this series is going to take to move on to this winter final.
It's entirely possible that we're going to see some unconventional things come out from either one of these teams. I do believe we saw some Wrecking Ball last week on stream, so entirely possible that we can see some Wrecking Ball come out. I do think Sigma is an option on Numbani. We did see a couple of those run out from Washington Timeless in their 2-0 series earlier today, so could see some Sigma. We could see some more Ryan TP stretch, which I of course am perfectly fine watching, as those are always so enjoyable, but I do think that we're going to see some more unorthodox compositions, not really going to be going back to that Orisa, and that's reasonable, right? Both these teams, they don't want to play slow, and unless you're running that Symmetra, you're not really going
Welcome everyone back into our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor Tills 2. Sneaky and Fish still on the action. Apologize for the delay, but don't worry, you didn't miss a single thing. Sneaky, we're still ready to hop into Numbani, game number 2 between Drainers and Washington Timeless. Washington Timeless with a 2-0 win on Control. Maybe a bit of an upset as Drainers beat them in the Swiss bracket. We'll have to see. And before we took that break, we were talking about potentially not only that we're not going to see Orisa at all in this series, but that we might even see the Sigma coming out for one or both of these teams here on Numbani.
Yeah, as I was saying, I wouldn't be surprised, right, if we do see a Sigma come out from either one of these teams, kind of like a Circuit Royale-esque style of play with that Sigma on that high ground, on that defense. I think it's entirely possible, but I just don't think we're going to see that slower Orisa from either one of these teams. Is we've already seen them play already, and they like to play fast, right? We've seen the Junker Queen with the Lucio. We've seen the Reinhardt with the Bap Lucio. They're not going to play slow, right? They want to play fast, so I think the slowest they will be willing to go is maybe onto that Sigma. So I think we're not going to see Orisa today unless there's some Orisa TP strats, which is entirely possible. I wouldn't hold it against them, but I definitely think these teams are going to shy more away from the Orisa going into Numbani specifically.
I think the other thing to keep an eye on potentially for Washington Timeless, now that you mentioned the Sigma, is this is a team that last week, when they brought in the Sigma on Numbani, actually brought in Sniper, their backup tank, over Saw Hill. We had a chance to talk to him in the interview, and they just kind of said that that's how the comp works. Saw Hill masters some of the tanks, Sniper's able to master the others, a nice little sort of division of resources. So going to be very curious to see, and it will indeed, it won't be the Sigma, but it will be Sniper in on the Junker Queen. So very interesting, a roster change up here for Washington Timeless. Nothing unusual. We saw this from them last week, so maybe just, again, Sniper likes the map better. We'll see. It worked for him last week, Sneaky. We'll see if this week it works, because Drainer's going same comp. Let's run it back, and let's see if we can make it work this time, at least with Kindred for now on that Reinhardt.
Yeah, and I'm already loving this one, Fish. We're going to see the Life Weaver, and Kindred is at the spawn doors. Obviously, that Life Weaver going to grip them back, but this could be very, very interesting. A quick little charge pin into a grip would be great. Goes for it. Can't quite. Oh, wait, does fall. Oh, Fish.
They got Mauler. That's exactly what you called, Sneaky. A massive play from Drainers, kind of saying, all right, you came out on Control. You able to take care of us. We'll do something a little bit cheeky here this time. In the long run, Is it going to make a Jim and Sneaky? No, but it's a great way to start the map.
It's a great way to start the map, right after that BRB, and you get right back into the action. The Sim TPs, though, from Timeless, they're playing this one very, very long game, and this is the thing with Numbani. You wait, and they're going to wait here, and then they're going to wait. They're rotating over, going to throw a Sim TP shortly onto this backline, I'm willing to bet, and then going to start this fight as the first thing is a dash into the backline.
Sniper right on top, but it's KJ getting the first elimination. Bun gonna go down. You see that immortality field falls as well, but Snozzler able to answer back, and that's Kindred down. That's that Reinhardt shield and all that beef down for the side of Drainers, and with that, Senna goes down here as well. So despite the early losses, look at Snozzler just with great manipulation of the TP. It does get taken out, but able to bounce back and forth, get a couple more eliminations here. We do see Kindred has swapped over to that Orisa. If they're able to get back in the fight in time is going to be a different question, and the answer is no. Payload already unlocked for Washington Timeless, and now they're going to rack up a couple more kills.
Yeah, Drainers, I mean, you can try to contest there, I guess, but, I mean, what is it going to serve, right? I mean, you have a Bastion and a Lifeweaver. That's not really going to put you in the best of contesting territories, especially against a Junker Queen with a Genji and a Symmetra, especially with Snozzler just going back and forth with that Symmetra TP, which was absolutely incredible gameplay. And now we are going to see, like you mentioned, this Orisa coming in, which I'm okay with this pick, especially because you have the Yari coming in, so you will be able to poke a lot more and take this brawl on that Washington Timeless wants to play into you at the moment.
Washington Timeless about ready to round the corner with the payload. Ant Matrix and the Photon Barrier going to be online. And Snozzler's going to drop that Photon Barrier to allow a little bit more room to push forward for Washington Timeless. And they're going to take all of the space granted to him. A double kill for Orion. Snozzler going to add in one as well. A clean team kill. And Sneaky, I got to ask, going back to that first comp for Drainers, do you think they committed too much to the cheese and now they're kind of paying for it? Or do you think that that wasn't the reason right now that they're getting run over?
I think maybe on point one, it could have caused a little bit of an issue, right? Because then you had to reset all the way back onto that high ground. But, I mean, now on this first part of the payload, I don't see it as the problem. I think Drainers are just struggling now to even get a chance to take the fight into Timeless because Snozzler with these teleportations from the Symmetra are just going insane. We will see the switch over to that Sojourn to just keep that pressure onto that Orisa, and I think Washington Timeless, they're perfectly fine with the switches Drainers are doing, and they read this. This is just exactly what they want, and that's why they're doing so well. They're okay with this. They're like, all right, cool. This is what we expected to see, and with this 5 minutes to get this final point on Numbani, and Bun is already going to be looking for this blade, I'm willing to bet.
There's that blade coming out. In the backline is Bun looking for a pick onto his support, onto somebody. It's Senna that goes down first. Meanwhile, Sniper and Snozzler are going to pick out two more. Sniper's got a second in the fight. It's back-to-back team kills for Washington Timeless, and they are moving right along.
This is just pure dominance coming out from Washington Timeless right now. This is why the spotlights were on this team. They did use a couple ultimate abilities here, but Sniper going to probably look to ult early here, but instead Shirtsy will actually be the one to ult early with this artillery strike on to the Bastion and to the Baptiste and the Genji, and we'll actually find the Genji here, Fish.
Massive pick, really the first sign of resistance we've seen from Drainers all time on Numbani today. Will they be able to push back? I think Washington Timeless instead, Sneaky just wants to say, you know what, we're down a player, let's just opt for a quick reset.
Yeah, and that's the best thing you can do here, right? Especially because the player you lose is your Baptiste. You don't want to try to take that fight. You don't have the heal, you don't have the sustain that the Orisa composition does here. Snozzler, though, will just say, I'm going to use Overclock and doesn't care about the Amplification Matrix.
Picks up lane already. There's the immortality field coming down from Orion. See the rampage coming out from Snipers. They're able to pick up an elimination as well. Double anti as well onto two members of Drainers. Kindred and Chosen go down. Bun with a pair of eliminations, and this is going to be a massive 3-cap. 3:39 on the clock, Sneaky. This was a domination from Washington Timeless.
Yeah, you know, Fish, you and I were saying that we saw a lot of 2-0s today, and that this could be the one that would stop that. But after what I just saw from Washington Timeless, I don't know. I think this could be Washington Timeless playing to their strengths. And one thing that I do want to mention is like you said, Sniper tending to be the tank player that comes in for this map, but they're on this Junker Queen as well, and we see Sawhill normally on the Junker Queen as well. So seeing this Junker Queen come out specifically from Sniper now, they are going insane on this Junker Queen and not letting Drainers get a second to breathe. And the 1 second they did have to breathe, Washington Timeless said, okay, we respect that you took out our Baptiste. we're just going to restart. And that's exactly what they did, losing, what, maybe 30, 45 seconds in a fight. That's all they lost from that. And then immediately coming back, taking the fight. The ultimates, Drainers had them, but Washington Timeless didn't care. They always were the ones being proactive in the fight. They were ulting first. They were taking care of the ones who had ultimates from the side of Drainers, and they just went over and over and over again. And Washington Timeless running it back. The only difference is Snozzler will be on the Bastion here in case they do see an Orisa coming out from Drainers, but we see the Reinhardt TP strat coming out instead.
I'm curious what Drainers is going to do here on offense. Right? I mean, this map, again, it started out hard to believe, Sneaky, so well, right? They got the cheeky pick onto Mauler, got the knock off the edge, and we're like, okay, this is going to be maybe a hard fight for Washington Timeless. And then they just straight ran them down. Let's see what they can do this time. As you mentioned, keep an eye for the Reinhardt TP, where they're going to try and get Kindred and the rest of the team here. You can see Senna looking for that portal to go down as they try, at least for now, on that low ground, going to teleport up to the high ground. All of the team going to make it through. Ride Shield going to be able to block the damage, keep that teleporter alive. So it's now 5 members up top. Button going to round that corner, potentially see if there's an elimination to be had. Right now, everybody grouped up. Another teleporter right back to the other side. We see some of these TP shenanigans. You see KJ here just piping out damage onto Washington Timeless while they're distracted on one end. Immortality Field is going to go down, but it's chosen the first elimination. This is not what you wanted to see. Are they able to at least get one tick onto the point? Our Drainers, they get so close, and they are able to pick it up, so at least a little bit of progress will be made as KJ able to get an elimination onto Bun, and up on this high ground, left all alone on the Bastion in the tank form. But as I say it, they get taken out here by Mauler, and now Sniper and company looking to regain here. They did get at least one tick, but that's all they got, Sneaky, as they fall just short of that second one.
Yeah, and that fight, it started off really rough for... Still going. The fight started off a little rough there for Drainers, as I do like the split TP, but the Baptiste was the one who was stuck on the other side against the Washington Timeless. Wasn't able to stick over there with Shirtsy on that Bastion. So unfortunately, we did see that Chosen was forced out and did end up falling, and that was risky. Washington Timeless already starting off on that one very, very strong, but then Drainers just struggling to find those eliminations on the support, and they were able to carry through. And now Amplification Matrix is going to be used, and we're going to see a kite come out from Drainers, and this is the smartest thing Drainers can do right now.
Drainers baiting out, waiting out that Amplification Matrix from Orion. It has faded. Chosen only 7% away from their own Amplification Matrix. It's going to come online right now, and it's immediately going to be dropped for Drainers as they try and push forward onto this point. Already down to under 2 minutes remaining to just get the payload unlocked. Rampage from Sniper is going to come out right on the back line. Immortality Field going to be used, and just enough to actually kind of put Sniper in a very awkward position, not able to run away as KJ gets the elimination. Snozzler does trade one off, gets a pair actually, taking out the tank and Chosen as well. So Drainers once again without that Reinhardt, without that Space Soaker, as Snozzler just says, this is my fight to take over. 3 eliminations to send Drainers right back to the spawn, Sneaky. They are running out of time to not only even tie the map, but to get the payload.
Yeah, KJ was able to find that elimination, but not quite enough. Washington Timeless is doing such a good job that even if they lose a couple members of their team, they are okay to take this fight. And I think one of the biggest things that I need to see from Drainers is they need to stop giving up that high ground. Timeless, they'll be down some players, but once Drainers steps down onto that point, Timeless then has Orion. They then have Snozzler, who can just sit on the high ground. And we will see this artillery strike is the first thing to go off, and will find lane. Great start for Timeless.
Massive start for Timeless. And Snozzler said, why stop there? Make it 3, 4 eliminations for Snozzler. Give him the clean ace as he just takes out the entire team. It's a team kill for Snozzler in a 1v5.
Fish, this is getting close territory here. Is the only thing you have here if you are Drainers is that sound barrier, and Washington Timeless can force that out with either Amplification Matrix and then re-engage there with that Symmetra wall, just forcing Drainers to take a really weird and awkward angle. This is going to be the final fight. They only need 1 tick here. They only are going to need 25%, but Washington Timeless has been playing this so incredibly well that one mess up from Drainers, just like that from Senna, getting boofed off the map from Mauler, and this could be it, Fish.
Amplification Matrix used from Orion. Lane gonna answer back. The only alt Drainers had the sound barrier, but it's not enough to keep KJ alive. Already a 5v3 as we see Senna trying to get back. It's not gonna matter. They can't even force overtime. And Washington Timeless with the quick clapback. And we talked about this as we led into this match, Sneaky. Drainers beat them in the switch. Drainers was kind of the prohibitive favorite in this matchup. And right now, it's Washington Timeless one map away from moving on to Winners Finals.
Yeah, I guess we did see another 2-0 in a sense, didn't we, Fish?
Yep.
I mean, that's such an incredible job from Timeless there, and it was so unfortunate to see. I mean, Mahler was able to find such a good boop elimination on the Senna there, and after you lose that Symmetra, immediately you lose every capability for your Reinhardt to travel through, and that sent them in such a rough situation there, where I mean, even you had Sniper sitting there on the Jungle Queen waiting, because they knew that that Drainers had to walk down those stairs, and from there Timeless was just able to slowly pick off each fight, and would end up taking us to match point.
Match point on Flashpoint. Now, in Drainer's defense, to hopefully maybe hype up this team, they felt better on Control, right? Control was obviously infinitely closer than Numbani looked at all. Maybe this is a team better on those Control map points. Of course, if you are new to Flashpoint, there's going to be 5 points spread around the map. They'll unlock one at a time. It's the first team to capture 3 of those. Once it hits 100%, it stays here as we go to the next Flashpoint. So maybe that leads in their favor. But right now for Washington Timeless, they just feel like a complete team sneaky. I mean, bring us to it. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm running out of words. That's why I have you as the color man, because I don't know what else to say about this Washington Timeless team.
There are no words, Fish. I mean, there's really are no words for this Timeless team. And like you said, right, Drainers definitely a lot better on the Control. We saw a lot more signs of life. In fact, we even saw where Timeless ended up switching to that Reinhardt composition, right, instead of the Junker Queen. I think this is definitely where, if there is going to be a map taken from Drainers where this momentum can maybe start to switch over, this is the map well, it has to happen, but it would happen, right? On this Flashpoint is where that momentum can switch for Drainers, because we've seen them play incredibly on this Junker Queen, and I want to see them back on that Junker Queen. They weren't on that Orisa that we saw. It was just a struggle because Timeless, they were prepared. They were ready for it. I don't want to see Drainers come out on this Orisa again. The Reinhardt, I am not opposed to, but the one thing you have to be aware of is that Senna cannot die. If Senna is going to be on that Symmetra, you cannot let Senna die. That is what it comes down to. And so I wouldn't mind seeing a Reinhardt composition here. Speaking of Reinhardt here, I wouldn't mind seeing that, right? But I think ideally, if you're Drainers here, you just mirror the Jungle Queen composition once more, and you make sure that players like Orion and Mahler don't take advantage of you and get those eliminations.
I think you're totally right. I think the big problem that Drainers just have, I mean, and no disrespect, I don't think Kindred has played a bad map whatsoever, but this Sawhill Sniper 1-2 punch that Washington Timeless has, and I'll be very excited to see who comes out on Flashpoint. We did not see a map 3 from Washington Timeless. We knew they'd probably swap Sniper on Numbani. I don't know where they'll go, but this just two-headed tank monster feels so insane. The fact that they can even play similar heroes is not something that we expected coming in. The Sniper just said, I'm going to pick up the Junker Queen, and I'm not going to let anything drop indifference from Sawhill. But the other thing, as you mentioned, Orion popping up. This map, at least part on defense for Washington Timeless, this was the Snozlar show. Absolutely insane. I think probably 15 eliminations in those last 3 fights by themselves. That's going to be another answer for Drainers.
Yeah, it really was. And Snozlar just, and that's sort of one of the things that I was mentioning during the gameplay was, and there would be times where Snozlar would just sit on the high ground with Orion and just put in pressure and damage after Drainers would jump off that high ground. And if that continues to happen, it's going to be a Snozlar show once more, Fish, because that's all they need to do, right? And especially if we go to specifically New Junk City, right? There's a lot more high ground to be taken on New Junk City than on some of the Cervasa points, where there are going to be sections where you may see that Snozlar on this Bastion could just sit and shoot rains of terror down onto the point.
Again, much like Numbani, I know we didn't see Flashpoint as often in Swiss, but what it was New Junk City, as you mentioned. I see no reason why we'd go elsewhere, and there it is. Lock it in, New Junk City. Again, if you joined us last weekend, that is one difference. We are playing first to 3 wins for the rest of the tournament. So winners semifinals, winners finals, grand finals, that'll all be first to 3 wins. So potentially a chance for a comeback here for Drainers. And the other keynote sneaky, of course, I don't think if you're a Drainers fan or a player, you want to hear it. there is a double elimination component, right? You're not done just because you lose this. Now, you definitely have a lot of drawing to do on the drawing board if you get 3-0'd by Washington Timeless in the manner that this series has been, but you still have that chance to come back, potentially kind of find your way back, find your groove. So there is not hope all resting on just this map for Drainers. But as we get into this, Sneaky, give us the game plan for how Drainers wins this map and continues the series.
So for Drainers to win this, fast, proactive. That is one thing that I've been mentioning with Washington Timeless so far, is that they've been taking the initiative, and when those fights are close, the reason Washington Timeless is winning is because they are going fast. They are going to quickly wait for one mistake coming out from Drainers, and then they go in. So what I want to see from Drainers is I want to stop seeing them be so timid in some situations. I want to see them go fast, immediately in. You have the commanding shout for that engage, or the amp speed for that engage, and then you have the other one to disengage if needed, right? You have the capabilities to just go and go and go. And so I want to see Drainers go fast. I want to see them use their ultimate abilities first. I want to see potentially even some more flank angles, right? We're not seeing that Ayari come in, so you don't really have much of a problem coming in with that potential annoyance of Ayari just taking you out as a flanker. We're going to see Genji's coming out from both of these teams. Sahil's coming back in for Washington Timeless as well here. So I want to see Drainers just go fast. Immediately, no restraint, just go in and take this fight.
As you mentioned, Sahil in for Sniper, yes, in for KJ on Drainer's side. So a pair of swaps for both teams. We'll see who is able to come out victorious here. Flashpoint, winner semifinals, calling all heroes, Unite Miner 2. Somebody try to punch their ticket to these winner finals, and right now Washington Timeless up 2-0 in this series, first to 3 as they trade back and forth. Senna able to get a huge elimination onto Snozzler. Might not be a better player to pick off in a first fight than Snozzler's. A massive loss for Washington Timeless. As we talk, it's about a 40-second run back to the point at times, depending if you have speed. And that's going to be a 5v4 for much of this opening point. You can see Drainers already has that point unlocked, and Washington Timeless, I think, just waiting for Snozzler to get back.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to see from Drainers. I wanted to see them go fast and show no fear. They take one member out of Washington Timeless, and then they immediately backed up a little bit, and that worked so incredibly well for them. And now the commanding shout on the side of Washington Timeless to help them engage first.
Osler looking to make it back. Senna dropping low. So far, only one elimination. The point up to 40%. The Mauler going to get taken out. Sawhill goes down. Senna absolutely popping off. Rising to the occasion is Drainers, as they're going to kill 4, make it 5 on the Bun. It's a team kill, and Washington Timeless may be down to their last fight.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to see from Drainers, right? You've now won these dry fights. You've won these fights where you've gone fast. Now you need to be proactive. Now you need to use that Kitsune Rush first. Help yourself build up potentially that overclock, and then use that if needed, if you don't already have point, and if Washington Timeless is not, if they choose to contest that. You need to go fast, and there it is. This is what I want to see, Fish.
Fortunately, they used, yes, as soon as the Kitsune Rush is popped, the Kindred in lane, and Chosen going to combine for 3 in a row. Down 1 doesn't matter. This is going to be most likely Flashpoint 1 over to Drainers. We'll see what Washington Timeless has in store, if anything. And it's unfortunately just a couple eliminations. So remember, first to 3 on the Flashpoints win. We're heading to Flashpoint 2, Sneaky, with Drainers in a rare position of winning in this series.
Yep, and this is the Drainers that I wanted to see come in, the proactive Drainers, right? We used Kitsune Rush here for the side of Drainers, and now you were able to build up that overclock. You were getting close to that blade. You're going to have Rampage. You are going to have Sound Barrier. You are in a very, very solid position, but so is Washington Timeless, where they can also go fast. So Drainers, if they want to continue to go first and they continue to want to win this fight, they need to ult first. I want to see a Rampage potentially into an overclock.
The overclock is answered by the Kitsune Rush, but it doesn't matter. Orion taken out by that overclock from Senna. Snozzler now has their own overclock. They're going to use it on top of the blade, but Washington Timeless just cannot find an elimination. They get a couple, but they lose Snozzler, they lose Bun. It's down to just a 2-on-2, but Sawhill coming back in, not looking like they missed a step. Gets a pair of eliminations, looking for this kill onto Kindred, who's surviving at a sliver of HP. But it is enough for Washington Timeless to flip that point. It looked bad, Sneaky, but they get the job done.
They did, Fish, but that was 5 ults. That was every single one of Washington Timeless's ults used in that fight, and now, yes, we'll have this blade. And Washington Timeless has nothing to stop this. They have a boop, they have a cleanse. That's really all they've got to take out this blade. So all Yes needs to do, find a flank angle, and we'll find it. And also Chosen close on this Kitsune Rush as well here. So gonna be in a good spot if you are Drainers. Yes, you lost that fight, but Timeless sacrifice so much, and Snozler will be the first one to fall.
Senna absolutely answering the call. We talked about Snozler popping off, and there's the blade from ES, able to get one elimination. Senna with their second of the fight. Yes, going to make it 2 for both DPS, and Lane will come in for the final one. They are able to flip the point, and so far, this has been the Senna show, Sneaky. Absolutely first blooding every single fight.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Drainers right now is they're going fast. Senna's getting the ability to find these picks onto Washington Timeless, and once again, Drainers gonna have that ult advantage. They're gonna have the Kitsune rush early here, and if they do, you're gonna have Senna just shooting crazy rails into the backline of Washington Timeless, and if someone gets hit, it's over for them here. As Chosen will have this Kitsune rush. I want to see it used early here, and there it is, Fish. The Kitsune rush early.
Keep your eyes on Senna. Is those eliminations going to come in as they have every single fight? You can already see Snozler dropping low. Sawhill falling, but it's Yes, actually, the first one to go down. A massive win for Washington Timeless. Flashpoint up at 75%. A kill for Kindred, and Senna using that rampage as well. Senna unstoppable right now for Drainers. They have answered the call that this team needed, up over 90% on the Flashpoint. If Washington Timeless wants to take the fight, they have to, and it looks like, Sneaky, they say, GG, go next. We're heading to Flashpoint 3.
Yeah, good idea. Washington Timeless does not want to contest that fight. You have ultimates, but you do not want to end up using them when going into this next point here. And like you said, Senna just doing such an incredible job. They are going insane on the Sojourn, finding these picks, finding these rails, and just sending Washington Timeless back to the spawn doors here. If this was the map that Drainers would win, would be Control, the one to switch the momentum, and now they're only one away of doing it here. They're going to have the Sound Barrier, they're going to have Overclock. Washington Timeless, what I want to see from Drainers here, I want to see them use this ultimate after we see Washington Timeless, which will happen here as 2 ultimates coming in from Washington Timeless.
Sune rush and the rampage from Sawhill. Yes, going to be the first one to fall. Senna dropping low, and finally Washington Timeless able to pick up 3 eliminations and really start a Flashpoint on the right foot. Lane does get one in response, but it's not enough. And this is the Washington Timeless we had seen all series, and finally they show through when they need it most.
Yeah, and I won't lie to you, I kind of wanted to see Sound Barrier there. It's risky to do, but you might be able to get more ultimates out from Washington Timeless, including maybe a counter beat coming out from Mauler, and that would have put you in a really good position, putting that 70% for that Kitsune. You have that Overclock again, which be very, very careful with Senna on this Overclock, as both Overclocks are popped and Senna finds the first pick.
Senna has been absolutely popping off. The Snozler have the answer. There's the Sound Barrier from Lane. Mauler not able to use it because of that Overclock elimination. And after the quick start, the Flashpoint flips, and Drainers, once again, they put everything in Senna's backpack and they answer the call.
Yes, they did. Quite literally calling all heroes there with that Overclock, and now Drainers going to have Blade. We'll have this Kitsune Rush as well. Washington Timeless will have Blade and Sound Barrier to their name, so Drainers will be aware of this, and that beat is going to be what takes this fight into the next level for Washington Timeless, but they have to make sure that they don't get it baited out by a Blade early on in this fight here, as they're going to go early, and the commanding shot's going to be the first thing that starts it with a Blade from Bun.
Bun, can they find elimination? There's that Sound Barrier you were talking about, Sneaky. Sawhill able to get one, a second one for Bun, a massive double kill to the side of Washington Timeless, but Drainers aren't out of it yet. Orion will fall. Can Drainers manage to stay alive? This point up above 70%. They're just buying themselves time. Worst case scenario is Sawhill picks up 2. Point will flop to Washington Timeless, but they've still got a long way to go to keep Flashpoint going.
Yeah, I was telling you I was worried about using that Sound Barrier early, getting it baited out by a Blade, and that was perfect play coming out from Washington Timeless. Once Sawhill was able to take out Yes, then you had no worry of getting that beat baited out by something. So immediately Mauler puts down the beat, secure the fight, get some extra HP onto Washington Timeless, get that extra overhealth shield, and immediately goes in. But now Yes will probably start this one early with a Blade, but rather it will be the Kitsune Rush that comes out first.
Sawhill answers with the only ultimate Washington Timeless has, but it's not enough to find an elimination. Yes, looking for one, but it's Kindred who finds it first. Point flips at 99%, and Washington Timeless are down in a 5-on-3 to keep this series in hopes of a sweep alive for them. Overtime coming. Can Washington Timeless do anything? You see Senna, Yes, and Lane all incredibly low, but they're able to be stabilized. The Overclock comes out from the MVP of the fight so far in Senna. Can they finish this map like they started it? And the answer is yes, an elimination on the Mauler will all but do it. Washington Timeless in stall mode. Kitsune Rush going to come out from Orion, but it's not going to be enough, and Drainers will prevent the sweep, and we head to push for game 4 of this series, Sneaky.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see that from Drainers, right? Because Drainers, definitely that team that we know is such a powerful force in this tournament, and you can now see why, right? When they play fast, when they play proactive, when they're able to take these flank angles, this is what happens. Washington Timeless was struggling so hard to find that opening, that situation to get themselves into the fight, find that elimination, and especially with Senna just hunting you down with rails, it was nearly impossible.
I mean, you called it. You called it going in that map. You said Senna has to stay alive. Senna not only stayed alive, Senna eliminated everyone else and made them not alive. It was absolutely insane. The DPS pop-offs for both teams has been crazy, and now, really for the first time on the stream, we don't get a sweep, which is very exciting. We, of course, now get to use that best of 5 rules that we changed to see an extra map, and now things just get so much more interesting because, as you said, Sneaky, this is the Drainers team we expected to see. Kind of taking it to Washington Timeless, putting Washington Timeless on the back foot, as you said, all map long, playing fast, playing fast. I'm curious how Washington Timeless responds because it feels like they realize this strategy we've used for the first 2 maps, it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah, and that really is the best thing coming out for Washington Timeless is, for Drainers, is now that they've adapted to the Washington Timeless playstyle, now Washington Timeless, it's on you to switch up your composition. It's now on you to fix things and straighten up your tie and make sure that you're ready to get back into this push map. And with this momentum, Drainers can bring this back. You know, one thing that is very common in these 5-map Overwatch series is if you are close to getting swept, you take that 3rd map right before getting that 3-0, and then your next map is push. Push, as we all know, is a very snowball-esque map type. So that momentum, that snowball can really play into the final map. And we've already established Drainers definitely more confident on these control styled of maps. So if you're Washington Timeless, that thought may be shadowing in the back of your head right now, and you can't let it. You have to be confident going into this push map, adapt your playstyle, change up a little bit, and you have to stop Drainers, because if Drainers gets the jump on you, this could be a really, really good, in fact, upset for Drainers.
Yeah, I think Washington Timeless, as you said, they cannot just say, look, we've got 2 wins, we'll figure it out. Good news, though, for them. If push goes in Drainer's favor, we go back to Escort, and the one payload map we saw was so Washington Timeless-sided, it was absolutely wild. So that is something they maybe have in their back pocket. I don't think you ever want to play for Game 5. And so now the coin flips. We are going to be going to Coliseum for push, as we do get our first chance to look at push. But we've been talking so much this series, and rightfully so after the first 2 games, Sneaky, about what does Drainers need to do? What does Drainers need to do? Now I flip the coin on you. What does Washington Timeless need to do to win this map? What do they need to do to get back to how they were on Hybrid, how they were on Control as we head into push?
Yeah, so one of the things that Timeless has been doing extremely well on this composition, or on the maps that they've been winning, is they have been really patient in waiting for Drainers to make a mistake. And when Drainers goes incredibly fast like this, they are bound to make a mistake. You cannot sacrifice haste with quality, and that's where this could really get risky for Drainers. I like seeing them go fast, but this is where Washington Timeless now needs to look a little bit further into the Drainers roster, into the team itself, and see, okay, where are they messing up? Where is the slight hole that we can find where we can back up and get back in? We saw it on the 2nd point of New Junk City, where we did end up seeing that Kitsune Rush was used from Drainers, and Washington Timeless backed up and were able to find that cap onto the point. Really, really well played there, and we could see some adaptation coming in then. Now we need to see it to the max level come out from Washington Timeless, where now you need to make sure that you're not going to be put in those situations where Drainers can just run at you, where they can run full speed and take you by surprise. Because Washington Timeless, definitely a team that can kite and re-engage really fast. I wouldn't mind seeing the Reinhardt come back out for them.
Reinhardt worked well at the start. We do see we will have 1 swap for both teams. It will be Sniper back in for Sawhill in that tank position for Washington Timeless. Played phenomenal on Numbani. Maybe has some of that mojo left to get Washington Timeless into our winners finals. And I think the other thing, Sneaky, not to simplify what was a great explanation from you, it's Snozzlers versus Senna, right? Whoever wins that battle is going to win the map, it feels like, for these 2 teams. But I think you're right. I think Drainers needs to play fast. We actually get a completely different comp here. I want to let you talk about it for Washington Timeless before we start.
Yeah, I mean, Reinhardt, that's not a Reinhardt, that's a Ramatra. But, okay, well, there's the Junker Queen. I wasn't opposed to the Ramatra. I was so down with that, Washington Timeless. I was so down to watch that happen, because that would have been really interesting to see the Ramatra, especially because Drainers is on that Reinhardt composition. I would have been so down to see the Ramatra come in, but it looks like we will be seeing the Junker Queen come in, which Sniper did such a good job on. Snozlar will be on this Sojourn. I think we might see a Bastion switch come out from Snozlar. I'm not going to lie to you, Fish, just because Snozlar did so well on that, and even see Orion switch over to that Baptiste as well, and kind of just mirror this Drainers comp just without that Reinhardt.
So far, just a little bit of poke back and forth. Nothing really major besides a couple of all percentage here and there, and now the robot will unlock, and we begin map 4 in our first of 3 here in the winter semifinals between Drainer and Washington Timeless. The Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Still looking for that first elimination. Drainers hiding, line of sighting really, really well, not letting Washington Timeless and Snozlar get much of anything besides a little bit of chip damage here and there. Right now, we're almost kind of in a standstill. The robot has just barely, if you can say, leaned in the favor of Washington Timeless, but we're just kind of firing projectiles out. Nobody wants to make this first move. And very quickly, Sneaky, talk to me about this Mei that Drainers is pulling. Actually, hold that thought as I try to pitch to you. They jump in, the curse of every color caster everywhere. As Drainers jumps on top, the immortality field goes down, and Chosen's is immediately picked off, but it's Senna. Who else with the first elimination onto Bun? A massive loss for Washington Timeless, and DPS down. They start pushing to Drainers with the robot.
Yeah, and I will answer this about the Mei. That Mei is such a scare factor for Washington Timeless, because the Mei is just watching for that wall. The second to get a wall to keep Washington Timeless, one of their members in front of it, so that Kindred can go in, so that Senna can transform and just put so much damage onto that one person and hopefully take that member out from Washington Timeless. And that's sort of why we see Washington Timeless playing so passive right now. They don't want to get walled off, especially you don't want Sniper to be the one who gets walled off here, because once that happens, you're down your Junker Queen, and now Drainers can just press W into the compositions. But since this fight has really just sort of been a standstill for a couple minutes, both teams looking very good on ultimate percentages, and Blade will be the first thing that starts the fight.
Blade comes out. Sniper gets the first elimination. We do get the sound barrier from Lane to try and help stabilize. As Kindred answers right back. There's the overclock from Snozlar. Getting a pick onto Senna. A massive win in that 1v1 DPS showdown. Sniper able to get one more. And Washington Timeless, they bought enough time. But unfortunately, the robot's going the wrong way. A great back door by Yes, just to really kind of take all the momentum from that fight and take it right out of Washington Timeless's hands, because even though they won Sneaky, they didn't get anything.
Yeah, they didn't, and now Drainers, with that speed, are going to be right back on this point and are not really going to care that that Washington Timeless is going to start to get some movement here, but Washington Timeless will have a few ultimates to their name to use here, as well as Drainers. The only difference is no DPS ultimates for the side of Washington Timeless, no support ultimates for the side of Drainers, and as I say that, Artillery Strike going to be the first thing to use from Senna, going to try to force out the Junker Queen from the Washington Timeless.
Sniper taken to about half health, but able to stabilize. We actually see Washington Timeless, you called it, Sneaky. They're mirroring this Drainers comp as they brought out their own Mei. As the shockwave goes down, going to land onto 2, but no eliminations. A great sound barrier from Mahler, but unfortunately, as soon as the sound barrier and the immortality fields fall, it's all blue on the kill feed. Drainers going to pick up a massive team wipe, and we do see a pause coming in here, so a quick break, but so far, it's been all Drainers with this Mei comp. The one fight they lost, Sneaky, the backdoor flank to distract the robot, is a big reason why they're winning right now in push 20-15.
Yeah, and Drainers are doing such a good job of that, really just forcing that scare factor into the Washington Timeless. I do like the Mei switch coming out from Washington Timeless. I figured it would have been a Bastion, I'm not going to lie to you, but I do like the Mei as well, because when you look at the differences between these two tanks, right, between the Junker Queen and between the Reinhardt, when you're on the Reinhardt, you're in a situation where it's like, okay, if I get walled off, I'm dead. Like there's no returning. I might get an immortality field, but you're not living through that. I mean, especially with the damage coming out from the Washington Timeless, but rather on the side of having a Junker Queen, you have a very high chance of living even if you do get walled off. So I'm not surprised, and I actually like this decision coming out from the Washington Timeless, because now you can mirror that fear factor and you can put a little bit of extra pressure onto that Reinhardt.
I'm with you. That Mei, it did kind of the opposite, right? Because all Flashpoint you talked about for Drainers, go fast, go fast, go fast. And it worked really, really well. For Push, it was the opposite. It was slow it down. I mean, we spent 2 minutes just kind of standing behind pillars, look for a pick, push forward. Stand behind a pillar, look for a pick, push forward. And it really has worked. And it feels like Drainers, I mean, I've gotten this sense, and I don't think this is intentional at all, but it kind of felt like they're kind of playing with their food, you know, toying with it, stalking it in those first 2 games. What works? What doesn't work? Now, I don't think their intention was to go down 2-0, but it really feels like after Numbani, Drainers has been in command, and when we want to fight, you're going to fight, Washington Timeless. When we don't want to fight, you're going to sit there and wait for us. And they have just taken over this map as we hop back in. And coming off this team kill, that robot's pushing forward.
Yeah, and with this now, Drainer's going to start taking a more substantial lead against the Washington Timeless here. No really ultimates for Drainers, however, Senna on the Ashe now. I like this a lot. I do really, really like this because now you're going to put so much pressure with that Dynamite onto the Washington Timeless, where this cleanse is going to be forced out a lot more coming out from Orion. And this could put you in a really risky position. Kitsune Rush will be on the table for the Washington Timeless to use. And one thing I do want to mention really, really fast before this fight breaks out is I like what Drainers are doing. They're forcing the bot to sit a little bit further back as Kitsune Rush is going to be the first thing used.
They have the Amp Matrix in return from Chosen, so a pair of supports, ults, and no eliminations. There's the overclock from Snozlor. Are they able to find an elimination? Immortality Field does go down, and immediately you really can't see a Drainers member on your screen. Lane made the mistake of peeking forward. Other than that, a great job just waiting out these ultimates from Drainers. Senna, Sniper able to pick up one. Senna answers back with a double kill on the Ashe, but finally Washington Timeless break through and should be able to maybe equalize this map.
Yeah, I could definitely see Washington Timeless coming out and actually taking the lead here, potentially. One thing this is interesting. This is a very interesting pick coming out from Snozlar, is the Hanzo. This is something I really, out of every DPS that Snozlar could be going to here, I did not see the Hanzo pick coming out. I can definitely see it working here, putting that pressure on the shield, keeping that pressure on Senna, the Sniper v Sniper duel. But that definitely puts you at a very interesting position here with the Hanzo, because now your Jungler Queen can't really dive in with anyone with Brawl outside of Bun on the Mei here. So really interesting choice of switch here, and I'm with it. I'm for it.
See what Snozlor could do. You have the Bob and the Shockwave. There is the Shockwave. A clean whiff from Kindred. Unfortunately, great cryo freeze by Bun to neutralize that. Bun has the ultimate as well. Gonna catch the Reinhardt on the wrong side of the wall. This is exactly what Drainers wanted to do early. And it's Bun that pulls the comp off for Washington Timeless. But with this sound barrier coming out from lane as well as Bob, somehow through all of that, Kindred is not only alive but thriving. Sneaky, a double kill for Washington, or for Drainers, excuse me. Senna's gonna put in one more. You catch the Reinhardt and you lose a fight, that is demoralizing.
Yeah, and the cleanse was forced, which means the Dynamite coming out from Senna was just free territory there. The Bob was there as well. The Immortality Field, the Beat was there. Drainers put so much power into keeping that fight alive for them, and that's what ended up winning them. It's just the ability that they were able to force out every ability that Washington Timeless had. And I like how back and forth this is. It's only by a few meters that each one of these teams are getting on it. Orion switching over to this Baptiste now, something I did expect to see. Blizzard is going to be the first thing that comes out here with the Mauler Beat coming in as well.
Mortality Field is going to be used by Chosen as well as that Am Matrix as Lane picks up the first elimination. Bun at least able to get one back, so it's 4-on-4. And who else but Senna breaks the tie with an elimination onto Bun. Sniper trying to keep Washington Timeless in this as time slowly gets away. Orion with an elimination as well. And finally, Washington Timeless breaks through, but with how Drainers are playing sneaky, they don't get much point pressure on this robot by the time they win a fight.
Yeah, no, they really, really don't. And Senna now going to be switching over to that Bastion to basically ignore everything we just said and now put that pressure onto that bot. Snozlar going to be on this Sojourn now, so we're kind of back at how we started with how this entire map started. Washington Timeless, though, looking to take this lead, but last second will be a contest and Amplification Matrix coming out from Washington Timeless.
Kindred does have the Shockwave available, but the health is very low, and they get the elimination before the Shockwave goes out. This might be enough to push the robot past. The Sniper picks up a second kill with less than 2.5 minutes on the clock. Senna answering the call once again for Drainers with a massive elimination onto Orion. Just 2 meters for the bot to put Washington Timeless in the lead, and it's Sniper clutching it up on the Junker Queen. Fun with that blade, gonna pick up an elimination, and this bot should finally advance past that 45 5-meter mark, and it's Washington Timeless in the lead with 2 minutes left.
Washington Timeless now in the lead and are going to be close, if not going to be able to get the checkpoint. And they are going to have beat as well as this overclock and this rampage online. Drainers will have a decent amount of theirs as well. Checkpoint, it looks like, will be contested last second from the Drainers, though, just by standing on top. The pin comes in, but won't be able to find anyone. But the Shatter will find 2, Fish.
Immortality Field blocks it for now, but they're able to find Sniper. There's the overclock from Snozlord, trying their hardest to at least get this first checkpoint as Mauler takes out Senna. That's a massive loss, but at the end of the day, that shockwave, I think, Sneaky, was just too much. And now it's a minute and a half for Drainers to go 20 meters.
Yeah, and Lane's going to take out Snozler as well. That stagger onto Washington Timeless. But if you're Washington Timeless, you're able to take about 20 meters off of the Drainers before ultimates to their name. This is going to be very, very hard for Washington Timeless to come back with, because all they have is that rampage close to that amplification matrix. This is what I was talking about earlier, where I need to see Washington Timeless play a little bit more patient, kite out the ultimate abilities, as Artillery Strike will be the first one that Washington Timeless has to be aware of.
Snozlord takes a couple of brute missiles to the face, but is able to survive. Under a minute left. Now 14 meters separating Drainers and Game 5. As here comes the sound barrier from Lane. Yes, able to get the first elimination onto Sniper through the rampage. And the May wall goes down. The robot has not stopped at all. Ant Matrix is available for Orion, but Mauler falls 52 meters and counting. Just a few more pushes from Drainers separates them from at least extending this series. Now just 4 meters away, 30 seconds left, and unfortunately Washington Timeless do not have the answer. They're going to take the lead, they're going to take the first checkpoint, and now Washington Timeless has 20 seconds to respond, Sneaky.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible for Washington Timeless to bring this one back, but they can't let that bot get any further. That checkpoint is going to be gruesome for the forward spawns. Amplification Matrix will be the first thing to be used on the Washington Timeless, and Mauler is already gone with 2 seconds left, Fish.
Maybe a miscommunication for Washington Timeless. Half of them wanted to go on the point, the other half wanted to fight, and there's no overtime, and it's Game 5 to Escort for Drainers and Washington Timeless. An absolutely fantastic showing there on push, with the final push getting the job done for Kindred and company here on Drainers.
Yeah, and now we aren't only facing a Game 5, Fish, but a reverse sweep in our upper bracket section here against these two teams. And this is where that momentum starts to shift. I mentioned it earlier on. When you win push, it really is a snowball. That one was more of a back and forth, but now you've won 2. The momentum's in your favor. Your mentals are going to be a lot higher in the terms of morale. And now you go to Escort here, which, yes, Washington Timeless definitely going to be more favored towards them, especially as they do get map pick. But what are you going to do here if you are Drainers? You're confident, but you can't be too confident now, because this is where things could get risky.
And I mean, as you said, not only Washington Timeless may be favored because they get map choice, on our only other payload map on Hybrid, they absolutely dominated. It was a clean 3-0 as we take a look at the replays. But as you said, this feels like a different Drainers team. It feels like all the momentum has shifted in their favor. This push map, to be honest, Sneaky, in my opinion, it didn't feel as close as the final scoreboard said. It felt like Drainers controlled when the bot was pushed. Drainers controlled when the bot moved. I know it was a great push by Washington Timeless, but it never, to me, felt like Washington Timeless had control of the map. And I think that's something that they had to find, because they had control so much on Numbani. They had control on Oasis, if you remember way back when on map number 1. They need to find a way to finally take Drainers out of the driver's seat.
Yeah, and they were doing a really good job of that. Like, I entirely agree with you. It definitely was. It felt controlled by the Drainers, even when they weren't in control of the push bot. It's like the Drainers just wanted this to happen. They were okay with this to happen. And now with Timeless facing this back burner of a reverse sweep, you have to be careful, because yes, Timeless was doing such an incredible job originally, and they still really are, but Drainers, they came back strong after that Numbani game and said, all right, now it's time for us to switch up our playstyle, play fast, play aggressive, and get as far possible as we can. And that's what we've seen from Drainers so far. So the Washington Timeless need to make some changes, and they started to. They've started to on Flashpoint. They did a lot better here on push, but now you don't have that buffer zone of being up 2 maps. This is it.
This is it. This is for everything. As you said, Game 5, Escort between these two teams. Of course, maybe there is a chance they could tie on Escort. We do have some tiebreakers in place if we get to that point. So maybe not the last map. As we see, we are going to go to Watchpoint Gibraltar. Definitely a very interesting map. What do you have, Sneaky, here on this map for these two teams? What are you looking for both sides?
I am definitely looking for some teleportation strats again with that Symmetra. I want to see some more Reinhardt TP going on to these backlines. That or just pure dive. I think Jungle Queen can work here, and I think that's probably why we see that coming out from the Washington Timeless is they can run Jungle Queen, they can be fast, they can be aggressive, they can just rotate onto these high grounds. I can even see a Symmetra coming in with this Jungle Queen composition. But I definitely see this in terms of drainers. We could easily see a Reinhardt coming back out from Kindred with the Symmetra teleportation strategies, just because when it comes to Watchpoint Gibraltar, it's a lot of high ground. It's a lot of fighting in sections that you can never reach by jumping unless you're Baptiste. So you have to use teleportation or you have to dive one way or another. And we haven't seen dive come out from either one of these teams, so I guess they could curveball us and throw us a Winston or a Wrecking Ball or a Diva or a Doomfist, I guess, is entirely possible. But I wouldn't say that we're going to end up seeing that. I think we're going to see some TP and Junker Quinn.
It's game 5, right? I mean, you throw everything out. I mean, we saw a sneaky Reinhardt play on Numbani way back when for Drainers that didn't work. It is game 5, Watchpoint Gibraltar, Washington Timeless, and Drainers tied at 2. It is 1-3 here in our winter semifinals. And of course, we did promise you updates, and an update that I think everyone expected, Sneaky. It is Valiant Guardians, our lone undefeated team, moving on to the winners finals, a 3-0 from what I have on my side. So they're looking dominant, and they're just chilling, waiting, watching all the action. Of course, the winner of this gets to play Valiant Guardians, a team that beat not only Drainers, but also Washington Timeless. So they have to have that somewhere in the back of their minds. But right now, the bigger question is who's going to come out on top, Sneaky, here as we get ready for game 5. And we get, at least for now, quite a different look from both our teams.
Yeah, this is where you put all the cards on the table, right? I can predict all I want on what we're going to see, and clearly my script was wrong because this is not what I expected to see. Diva, yes, I did expect this. The Genji and the Widowmaker, not so much. More of what Washington Timeless is running is what I expected to see. I assume Snozzler's going to jump up, look for a shot, won't be able to find anything, and probably end up switching. But actually, it will be Bun who ends up switching onto this Genji here. This is something I more expect to see from the Washington Timeless with this, especially with this on a Brig, able to just play normal dive. And oh, Senna taking out Snozzler.
It feels fitting with the Widowmaker mirror, right? Because it's the 2 DPS that have been popping off. I'm excited for this Senna versus Snozzler 1v1, if you will. And so far, first point to Senna with an amazing headshot there. Snozzler, of course, going to run it back. Maybe that one was just a fluke. We'll have to see. Of course, the payload to get away from our DPS 1v1 is slowly pushing, getting it out into this kind of risky no man's land where you can kind of get trapped at times as Senna pumping out a ton of damage onto Orion, getting that Ana down to about 50% before they're able to stabilize. Yes, gonna peek their head down as well. So far, no real eliminations outside that one shot from Senna. They're both kind of in this no man's land right now, Sneaky.
Yeah, and it's really whose Widow can find the first pick, right? Whose Widow, whose Genji can find the first pick here. Drainers does have a lot more pressure with Chosen on the Zenyatta, and I kind of like the Zenyatta a lot better than I do the Brig. I think the Brig is good a lot more on the defensive side than on the attacking side, and I think this might actually be affecting the Washington Timeless a little bit in their pushes forward, as they're more stuck in this car wash section, as Snozzler also looking for picks but can't quite find it. We really are at that standstill where the payload starts to get pushed forward, but no one has quite fallen. No damage. Ultimates are starting to be built up as Nano and Bomb will be here for Washington Timeless, and Senna will be the first to fall.
Snozzler gets that elimination, and now, as you mentioned, Sneaky, we're waiting for the first one. Kindred gonna try and drop the EMP, but killed before the remake goes through by Snozzler. They're gonna try and get out this underneath section of Watchpoint Gibraltar. Their mortality field has gone down. Chosen taking a ton of damage, does just rip the tranquility there. ZMP going out from Sniper, able to remech without taking a loss. Infrared sight coming in from Senna to try and help give some advantages to Drainers who are slowly being pushed back. Bun gets the elimination. We do see that Nano, going on to Bun, trying to build up for that Blade. But this should potentially be enough for a first payload push. Snozlor going to take a ton of damage as well. This thing slowed down, Sneaky. They're just a few meters away. Are they going to get that push in time? It looks like Drainers, just going to contest at the last second, but there's Snozlor, a fantastic pick. You saw the Matrix go down. Snozlor just simply does not care. A back-to-back headshots, and that should be enough for this first checkpoint. As you see, Sniper now going to push in, look for a couple more eliminations, and Drainers starting to look a little bit sketchy here on Watchpoint Gibraltar. They're going to lose this fight, and they're going to keep pushing this payload. We're watching Timeless.
It was a very long and brought out fight, but in the end, Washington Timeless are the ones who come out on top, and using the 3 ultimates they used, they're already 50% to all of them once more here. Snozlar not quite going to be able to find Chosen. Senna switching over to this Sojourn instead of going for those headshots on the Snozlar, and this is going to put a lot of pressure on the Sniper on this D.Va, and as well as Bun on this Genji in a little bit.
Here's to see with the Senna swap how long Snozlar will stay on the Widow. Do hear the rally going to come out from Mauler to start the fight. There's a Blade as well from Bun. Going to pick up the first elimination after that Immortality Field falls. Snozlor with another before falling to the Kindred. Diving right on top is that D.Va of the Sniper. But it looks like it's Drainers who resets here, and this payload will just slowly try and creep around that corner.
Yeah, and with this now, that rally, very, very good rally coming out from Mauler. Nano will be online. Sights as well as Bomb from Sniper will be ready as well here soon. Orion gets a little bit dangerous here on the orange boxes, but is going to get on top of this ship and stay alive for a little bit longer. Yes, does have Blade on lock. 2-2 is just such a scary score here, as the Blade will be the first one pop, but Orion shuts it down.
Yes, didn't even get a chance to finish the voice line before they're sent back to spawn. Oh, but it doesn't matter. Chosen, nobody told them they're playing DPS. Tranquility comes out, but it's after a double kill for the Zenyatta. Lane will fall to Sniper as this game remains very, very close. Sniper going to drop that EMP as Bun finds an elimination of their own. And it's Washington Timeless now just a few meters away from checkpoint number 2 on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Yes, trying to keep their team in it, but they fall almost immediately. Senna and company not able to stay alive as Bun and Sniper combine to take over the map. It had been the Snozlar show, but it's Bun who gets their team to checkpoint 2.
Yeah, that was really well played coming out from the Washington Timeless. Even after we see Chosen able to find 2 with that Zenyatta, is now going to be switching over to this Iyari, and that is an interesting one. They were originally on that Kiriko, I believe, for the contest, and now going to be switching over to the Iyari here. And I'm interested to see where this is going to be going, because you're not really running that poke comp other than that Sojourn, right? You're still kind of on that dive, and Washington Timeless is going to be able to take advantage of this backline support coming out from Drainers and just really get on top of them with Bun and Sniper on this dive style, and then Snozlar will have a lot of freedom to shoot after Senna.
Overclock is up for Senna. There have been such an instrumental point of Drainers going for a potential reverse sweep here. So far, no eliminations. Just over 2 minutes on this third point on Watchpoint Gibraltar for Washington Timeless. There's the Nano Blade. Gonna come out for Bun, Chosen, and Senna. Already both eliminated. The rest of the Drainers team pushing forward, maybe catching Bun a little bit overcommitted as the EMP and the remech from Kindred. Massive with the kill on to not only Bun, but also the mech of Sniper. And that went from Nano Blade to somehow a lost fight for Washington Timeless.
Yeah, that was such a chaotic fight, really, coming out from both of these teams. The Nano Blade is the first thing that shows up, and then all of a sudden, Drainers going to flip the map on the Washington Timeless, and that throws them so off guard. And now you have Bomb, you have Sights, you're going to have Rally, but Drainers going to be comfortable here looking at close to 4 of their own ultimate abilities here. 1:30 for Washington Timeless. You're on that third point. Snozlar going to be looking for this Genji, but can't quite find them. Neither can Senna, looking for this railgun shot as the Rally's first thing popped here, Fish.
After Sun going to come out from Chosen. It was such a deadly ult in some of the Swift play, and there it is with the kill onto Orion, but Snozlar able to answer back. EMP from Sniper going to come out in the 4v4. Or no one going to be eliminated. Just over 60 seconds left here. Washington Time is trying to round this corner, trying to guarantee at worst a shot at overtime, but it's Senna once again within a huge elimination onto Snozlor. And I think this might force Washington Timeless back for one more fight. Can they get the elimination on Sniper? They do demech Sniper, and will they get the kill on to Baby Diva? That is a massive time loss for Washington Timeless.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Drainers, you just leave the Sniper here in this Baby Diva form, forcing them going to have to go back to spawn and then immediately switch back to this Diva. Luckily, no ult charge was really lost there, but that is going to be a little bit dangerous. Snozlar now going to be going on to this Ashe. Drainers still 4 ultimates here, final fight territory. Washington Timeless doesn't really have anything other than this Nano, but you're not close enough to Blade to be able to use that. So the best thing you really do here is, I don't know, go for a raid boss potentially here, Fish. You're in a really rough spot.
Got 10 seconds left to Washington Timeless. The Nano you mentioned online, but you're looking at 4, maybe even 5 ults here from Drainers. But yes, immediately Blades and just gets fallen over. As you called it, Sneaky, the raid boss, Mauler. It's the only hope that Washington Timeless had, and right now it's working perfectly. The Ant Matrix goes down, a fantastic dynamite kill, but there's still that Captive Sun lurking in the background for Chosen. Can they clutch it up? It's eaten by the Diva. A massive play by Sniper. The lane does take out Mauler. Doesn't look like Washington Timeless is going to find a way for the 3 cap, as we do see the Blade come out from Bun. Gets a kill onto Chosen, going to dash across the map, try and find lane. They do just that. The Genji not able to hold on, but they got about 8 to 15 meters in that final push, and that might be the difference, but I'm sure they would have loved that 3 cap, because now Drainers can win it in regulation.
Yeah, they can. And I'm not going to lie to you there, Fish. That went so well for Washington Timeless. That Nano on to Mauler there on the brig did such a good amount of work and was able to actually build up that rally. And I think if Mauler doesn't die there, with that rally and with Bun going crazy with that last second Blade, you win that fight, right? But unfortunately, Mauler does die with rally there, which is unfortunate, right? Because now you know you definitely could have won that with that rally. You know you were right there. All that was left was Kindred stall on the Doomfist. It was definitely very, very winnable for you to take that fight, but unfortunately not quite enough there. But as you mentioned, is winnable now for Drainers to just basically get to that 3rd point. For the Washington Timeless, that is a solid push for them. Now they just need to play it safe here, and this is where we're going to see the Brig come out, and this is where the Brig is going to really shine, because it's going to deny any sort of pressure coming in from Kindred, or Yes, or even potentially Chosen using some of these outbursts to get onto the high ground.
Winner of this faces Valiant Guardians in our winter finals of the Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Of course, all the hype, Sneaky, they're still a lower bracket. The loser of this series is not done by far. Their work may be just going to be a little bit tougher. But here we go. It's all on the line. Game 5. Final push for Drainers. Can they go 78.78 meters to claim the win and what would be a massive reverse sweep? Before we get to all that, take a tech pause here, Sneaky, and of course, we'll see how good your photographic memory is from what you saw on that screen. What should we be looking for when we do come back out of that pause?
That is a when you're going to be coming in on this composition coming out from the Drainers, nothing's really changed, right? You want to go fast. You want to get on top of the backline here, and we're already back into it, so not really too different here. I do like Chosen on the Ayari here because it will give you a lot more poke potential on to Timeless. But you have to be careful if Snozlar is able to poke Chosen out or even just take their head off, which is also possible here with this Widow. You got to be careful. You can't let yourself get taken out, as both these Widows are just going to be standing here, and Senna's not going to quite be able to find it, but Snozlar will fall to Kindred.
Senna gets a kill onto the Mauler, so not shut out, and at least through point 1, Drainers much quicker down through that car wash area, already looking to round that first corner. Bun able to at least get one elimination, diving in onto Senna. The question is, will it be enough? And I'm not sure Washington Timeless has the resources. They're going to try and jump in and stall just 2 meters away from capturing point 1 with plenty of time on the clock. Kindred going to be forced to retreat. We did get a couple of massive swaps, and Snozlar now on that Tracer, unable to find success. And so far, Drainers just looking like the dominant team here, Sneaky, though they do lose, yes, as I say that. just 1.9 meters away from this first payload. They would have done it basically uncontested, but it looks like they potentially might have to back off here. Kindred going to be forced out of the mech, looking for that elimination onto the baby diva, and that's going to happen, and that should be enough for Washington Thomas to hold just barely early on here.
Yeah, and with this, Washington Thomas is just going to clean up the stragglers here, make sure Snozler doesn't get poked out by Chosen. And that is one thing I would like to mention really fast is with Bun and Snozler on this Sombra and on this Tracer, though it gives you a really, really good opportunity to dive in now, and you don't really have to worry about getting contested, this is very risky as Chosen can now just take you out. 2 shots, and both these DPS are seeing the spawn doors. So it's going to be close for Washington Thomas. You have to make sure that you don't get over aggressive and that you don't let Chosen take you out as the hack goes immediately on to Yes, but won't quite find the elimination yet as they fall to a sliver of HP there, Fish.
Other side of the map, we got that raid boss comp. Once again, the Nano rally coming out from Orion and Mauler, but Drainers, as soon as they heard it, just backed off. They will lose Lane, who gets through the respawn. And now 90 seconds separates Washington Timeless and a date with Valiant Guardians in the winners finals. What do Drainer have in store? They get maybe one more massive fight here. Sneaky, what are we looking for?
I'm looking for an early Nano onto Yes here. Get that blade, go early. Snozler especially now not going to have that pulse bomb, but you need to make sure that Bun is either taken out of the fight or dealt with, because that EMP is going to shut down anything Drainers do. Nano does go on to Yves, and there's the blade. The EMP might be an issue here, Fish.
Yes, waiting after killing them all, but it's the EMP, it's the Diva self-destruct. Excuse me, that's the issue. Captive Sun does take out Bun, so the EMP, not much of a threat, and it is enough for Drainers and company to get that first checkpoint and move on into the inside here, and we'll see what swaps are going to come through. It was close, Sneaky, but that Nano Blade was just enough for Drainers.
Yeah, it was really close, and when Yes died to that Diva self-destruct, I was a little worried there. Oh, okay, good night, Bun. Take a little nap there, but Washington Timeless now going to have to contest onto the second point. It was close, like you said here, and now Drainers with no ultimates there as they had to use everything. Washington Timeless basically as well. We're going to have a dry fight on this second point here, and Bun will be the first one to fall low, but Senna will be the first one to fall.
Sleep does go on to Sniper, and all of this time just slowly being burned off. Washington Timeless playing the clock. They get an elimination onto Yes as well. Looking for a dive here onto Lane potentially, and Sniper will pick that one up, and it's a reset here for Drainers. But as you kind of mentioned, Sneaky, we're just looking for alt charge at this point. We weren't really looking for much more than just some percentages.
Yeah, that really is what that is. And now Washington Timeless is, since they were the ones who won that fight, that was a very vital fight for either one of these teams to win, because now since Washington Timeless won, they're the ones with a major ultimate advantage. Drainers still really don't have anything. Chosen will be close to this Captive Sun here, but Washington Timeless, they're going to have basically everything but this blade, and that's going to mean that they can go early and they can take this fight fast, but they may not need to if Senna's going to be the first one to fall, and then Chosen right after.
Osler talks so much about them. They were so loud on Numbani with multiple pop-offs, and they get 3 in that fight. Well, Ryan picking up 1 as well. And it's a reset. I think maybe the most crucial thing, Sneaky, no ults used by Washington Timeless.
Yes. Yeah, Washington Timeless, no ultimates used whatsoever there. And now they're going to have basically everything. Blade will almost be built. Drainers will now have this Nano and this Captive Sun. But with everything else Washington Timeless has, and you have a minute and a half left, 1 elimination for Timeless and it's over. But Snozler will be the first to fall.
Rally comes out from Mauler in response to Snozler falling, and Mauler and Sniper pick up 2. It's a 3v3 for both these teams, but it's both supports down for Drainer, so it's self-sustain if you can for the side of Drainer. Kindred dropping low, the support's back online. Can they get back into the fight in time? It's going to be the question. 60 seconds left in these winner semifinals, separating one of these teams in a date with Valiant Guardians. Is Yes going to be forced to reset, and now with Kindred D-Mech, that's just more time lost for Drainers.
Yeah, more time lost, but Drainers does have every ultimate here, and Washington Timeless, they know that, which is why they're trying to find these staggers and make it as difficult as possible for Drainers, because that is 5 check marks on the board there. That's how many it takes to get a bingo across the board, and Drainers has all of them. Washington Timeless only at 3 at the moment, which means Washington Timeless needs to go fast, maybe go for the bomb and try to get something out early, then go for a Nano Blade, try to maybe get out that Captive Sun or that Nano early, just so you can find a way to take this fight, because Drainers are definitely in the lead here as Nano Blade's the first thing to come out.
Nanoblade gets a pick onto Orion. Now 10 seconds left. It's Yes with a double onto both supports. Captive Sun going to come out here as well from Chosen. Diva Bomb from Sniper just trying to buy space. Now into overtime we head. Drainers has got to cap this point to keep their chances of a winner's final spot alive. Blade going to come out from Bun and not find anything. And Washington Timeless should be back alive to contest this point, and they are. You're going to see a great job by Kindred eating that Pulse Bomb, and the Pulse Bomb from Senna gets a revenge onto Bun. The ultimate's going in the favor of Drainers here. They're just a few meters away from capturing point 2 and re-extending the time lead, but unfortunately Kindred hanging on with a sliver of health in this Diva mech, doing everything they can to keep Drainers alive, and it's 90 seconds on the clock, Sneaky, to determine who goes to winners finals.
That's the second fight now that we've seen the Drainers somehow manage to pull it out and find that victory. Washington Timeless was so incredibly close. That's why I wanted to see something used from Washington Timeless a little bit early. Maybe not all three. I like the hold of the ultimates they were holding, but just something a little bit earlier to stall out the Drainers, or maybe take an elimination or use an extra ultimate coming out from the Drainers. That didn't happen. Washington Timeless ended up using those last few ultimates in that contest, which was close, but that's why you wanted to use one, at least one, a little bit earlier here. Snazar will have this Pulse Bomb now, and is going to look for someone early. Bun falls a little low, but Pulse Bomb will not quite be able to find lane.
45 seconds left. As you mentioned, the only ult we had, the Pulse Bomb, already been used in a retreat from Washington Timeless. They have space to give. That 78.78, that golden parking spot you're going to see as we round the corner, that is Drainer's target with 30 seconds on the clock. A nice double ante, but Orion's able to survive. Yes, at 50%. Anteed and taken out by Mauler, a massive loss for Drainers, and it looks like they're going to try and retreat, but Washington Timeless does not want to allow a reset here. They want to make this the final fight. Sniper going to drop that Diva Bomb. It's Snozzler with an elimination onto Chosen. Kindred going to be forced out of the mech as well, and it looks like Drainers, they've come so far, but they're simply running out of resources. As Kindred goes down, the Nano's going to go out onto Senna. Just something, a hope, a whim, a prayer. What does Drainers have left? And the answer appears to be nothing, as Lane isn't going to make it back in time, and Washington Timeless somehow, some way, avoid the reverse sweep, and they've got a date with Valiant Guardians in the winners finals.
They do, and not only that, but that was an upset right there. The Washington Timeless taking out one of their challenges, one of the challenges that they were facing going into this playoff bracket here, as Drainers was one of the teams that beat them. Now they got to do it again, but they've got to do it to the still undefeated Valiant Guardians. But one thing I do want to mention about Washington Timeless there is how they played that final fight, how they were able to just say, okay, cool, we know that we are in final fight territory, but we're not going to give you any space, right? And immediately Washington Timeless just went in. Yes, they lost a member, but it was the pressure they kept on to the Drainers. They just went pure down to the spawn doors of the Drainers on that final fight, which caused them to have to go fast to get to that checkpoint, up the hill, onto the high ground in a sense, and they weren't quite able to do it. And Washington Timeless played that extremely, extremely well, able to take down the Drainers, able to take down one of those members, 3-2, stopping the reverse sweep like you said, Fish. And now they've got a date in the winners finals against the Valiant Guardians.
Exactly, congratulations. Now you go against a team that didn't lose last weekend, hasn't dropped a map so far today, a 2-0 and a 3-0 in quarterfinals and semifinals. The road does not get easier if you're Washington Timeless. But you get just the relief, of course, not being reverse swept, as you said. And maybe, again, I don't know how it'll match up against Valiant Guardians, but the one thing to keep in mind, if you're a Washington Timeless fan, if you're someone who's saying, how does this upset happen? We're playing 2 payload maps, and it clearly looked like, especially on this map, payload is where Washington Timeless is better than at least Drainers. Will that apply to Valiant Guardians? I don't know, but that's maybe your one saving grace, is if we can get to Escort, if you could force a map 5 against Valiant Guardians, if you are Washington Timeless, feels like they might have an advantage. We take a look at these game-winning replays from our final Game 5 of this winter semifinals.
Yeah, and if you are Timeless, right, if you are Washington Timeless and you are better than the Valiant Guardians on these Escorts, on these hybrid style of maps, then one, you're probably taking a deep breath right now, right, after almost getting reverse swept and now saying, whew, we're okay. It's okay. Now let's go beat the undefeated team. You've done that, right? But if you are able to take the Flashpoint or take control and you are still the better team on these payload types of maps, then you're going to be really confident going into this. I mean, you're already really confident, right? I mean, you took out one of your opponents. Drainers I only lost one map, and it was the Valiant Guardians. So definitely that, as I mentioned earlier, that mitochondria of this tournament. But watching Timeless, definitely feeling good about themselves right now. But if you are a Drainers fan, they're not out yet. They are going up against, I believe, Shikigami in the lower quarterfinals at the moment.
Yeah, Shikigami versus Drainers, as you said. Strix Blood waiting the winner of Fable in Vancouver Titan Blue, which from our knowledge is also on map 5 as well. But as you said, Washington Timeless, you get a sigh of relief. Now you get to see how long of a break you get, of course, because remember, Valiant Guardians, they've just been chilling. They're 3-0'd, Strix Blood. They look like the top team of this tournament. But I will say the one thing for Washington Timeless that is a massive difference, as you mentioned, Drainers goes down to the losers quarterfinals after this. If Washington Timeless is not able to beat Valiant Guardians, they're already in losers finals. They've guaranteed a top 4 finish at worst in this tournament. I'm not trying to be you're not going to win, I apologize, but that's just such a massive win already. You're already, I believe, in the money as well as part of that $5,000 prize pool if you get top 4. So there's a lot of good things that I think Washington Timeless after this game is going to look and say, all right, we've got a tough challenge, but we've already gotten so much further and just locked in a top 4 spot, massive points as we talked about, massive prize money. So I'm excited to see this next game because I think we're really just waiting for the answer, will Valiant Guardians ever bleed? Because at this point, it seems like the answer is no. But maybe Washington Timeless, in that break from last weekend Swiss to this weekend, has unlocked something because this feels like a very, very strong team who can play with anybody.
Yeah, and like you said, Valiant Guardians have just been chilling. They've been waiting for this matchup, which means they've also been watching the Washington Timeless, and that is going to be a big one for the Washington Timeless to think about for their quick little break here before going into the Valiant Guardians matches. All right, we know that our opponents know that what we run. Now, granted, Washington Timeless definitely threw some curveballs in the match today, but how much is that going to affect you going into the match later on?
I think if you're Washington Timeless, I think we've got to just say we got to go best comp. It doesn't matter if Valiant Guardians scouted us. I mean, I know these teams even played last weekend as well. So was there some mind games last weekend where you were holding something back? It's hard to say, but I think you just go full force. I'm curious to see. We even talked about this in the pre-show, right? We're still on that Orisa patch. We expected to see a lot of Orisa. Orisa made, I think, a token appearance on Numbani for Drainers, and that was it. There was not much. I mean, we saw more Doomfist as a stalling tactic than Orisa, which I don't think we expected to say coming into this tournament. So I'm very curious if that maybe throws Valiant Guardians for a loop, but I really like this Washington Timeless team, and I will say, I think my favorite part, Sneaky, is they have 2 tanks who have just been able to swap in and out effortlessly. Sawhill and Sniper, there didn't seem like you lost a beat when you went from tank to tank. It seems like maybe map dependent because it clearly seems like there's an overlap in hero pool. I really do like how Washington Timeless has that flexibility that not every team has in this tournament, and maybe it'll help them against Valiant Guardians, but I really do like that. What about you, though, as we wait to see where we go next? What are your thoughts on this series, this winter semifinals, going to Washington Timeless 3-2?
I think Washington Timeless, first off, really, really good play overall. But going into the next matchup, I think they need to worry about just starting fresh, right? You're 0-0. You're going off on saying, I'm good. I'm okay. We've won. Let's take a break, right? Take a breath. Relax. You're not done yet. You still have one more to go to, and that's what I think I need to see from Washington Timeless is just a total mental reset. I mean, stand up from your computers, get a drink of water, stretch a little bit, because you got to go back into this matchup, and you got to start like nothing ever happened, and go play your play, right? Play how you played map 1, 2, and 5 against Drainers, and you're going to put up a solid performance against the Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, I think if you're watching Timeless, you say 2 and 5, we can win. We feel like the payload team. What can we do on 1, 3, and 4? We will have to see. Again, we've still got action all over the place. There's a lower bracket. Drainers is not done yet. They're taking on Shikigami. Everybody is still alive for the most part here in our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got winners finals around the corner. Valiant Guardians and Washington Timeless coming up next right here on Calling All Heroes. Welcome back to Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Sneaky Fish, we've done enough to break down this series, Sneaky. Why don't we have someone join us who was actually in the action? Mauler from Washington Timeless is joining us. Mauler, I want to be the first one, probably outside your team, to congratulate you on a hard-fought victory. What are you feeling right now after a marathon 5-game series against Drainers?
So I think we're all a little disappointed with ourselves because based on the way we played in the first two maps, there was no this is going to sound really mean, but there was no reason they should have gotten that close to reverse sweeping as they did. I think we got a little silly, we got a little stressed in our own heads, and then some people they type a lot in all chat, and it just gets exhausting to look at. And I think we started to make a few mental missteps. But I feel better now that we've won it. And I feel like my soul is restored a little bit.
Yeah, of course, and I guess I'll be the second to congratulate you folks on an amazing victory there. I guess my question to you here is, as you mentioned, you were down or you weren't really down, but you did lose those two maps afterwards, getting close to that reverse sweep. So what were the thoughts going into map number 5, thinking, okay, we've already lost 2, the momentum not really in our favor anymore? What were the comms, what were the thoughts going through the team's head at that moment in time going to map 5?
So we knew that Numbani was a map where we weren't going to be playing the Junker Queen matchup because we're probably a stronger team in that matchup, like generally as the first two maps showed, but then we started to break down in a few places. So I think us deciding, okay, we're going to swap to this on a Brig map, we're going to play something completely different, and we all came into it with a very like a fresh mindset, and it felt good to go into that map and start. We were really methodical. It took us a while to push, but it was a really good methodical set of pushes. As we, were able to like slowly rebuild that confidence. And then in that defense, there were a few places where we made some missteps. I know on the ladder, on that second point when I died to that bomb, there's an audible gasp in the recording from when I thought I was out of LOS, so I just messed that up. There's a real audible gasp, but overall it wasn't like, yeah, let's go team or anything like that. It was just a moment of, okay, we know what we need to do to win this series. Let's win the series.
And your reward for winning the series, Mauler, might be even tougher. You're going against Valiant Guardians, who is undefeated. They've looked stellar from at least the map reports we're getting. Don't give me everything, but pull back the curtains a little bit. What is this team feeling like now that you've got a chance to kind of decompartmentalize that you talked about, reset? How do you feel going into these winners finals series against Valiant Guardians as decent underdogs, I would say, from everything we've seen so far in this tournament?
I'd say we feel the same way going into this series that we do into every other series. We need to win because we're not done yet. When the job's finished, we can be happy.
Straight to the point.
Well, I appreciate it, Mauler. Best of luck. We'll be keeping our eyes on the stream on that winter final. So go get a break. I know you said before you joined, you ran around the house. So go do that and go lock in for our winners finals.
All right. Thank you very much. And hope to see you back here soon.
I would love nothing more. No offense, Valiant Guardians, but I'd love nothing more to talk to Mauler to end the day because absolutely insane series. I will say big shout out to both their teams for letting us see all the maps. We had a little bit of issue with that in the first few games of the stream last weekend and seeing anything beyond just the sweeps. But again, Sneaky, a fantastic one. And we're going to take a quick break because we've got an even bigger game coming up. It is winners finals. Somebody's going to be in the grand finals tomorrow, all nice and cozy, and somebody's going to have revenge on their mind. It's Valiant Guardians, it's Washington Timeless, and it's coming up next on Calling All Heroes. Welcome back to Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2, Sneaky alongside Fish, getting ready for our final match of the day. Of course, we've got more maps tomorrow, including our grand finals. You don't want to miss Sneaky, but it is winners finals time. Washington Timeless, a team that we just saw. We just talked to Mahler, one of their players, very ready to go, taking on the top of the top. Valiant Guardians, undefeated in maps today. This is going to be a very, very exciting series. I cannot wait to see what they do. But I think we have to address the elephant in the room, which is the fact that Valiant Guardians looks, going into this map, head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, that's an understatement, Fish. I mean, Valiant Guardians, a perfect record. I think they have a perfect map record as well. Actually, yeah, no, I think they have a perfect map record as well. I could be wrong there, but I mean, Valiant Guardians definitely the powerhouse here going into this tournament and in the winners finals here against Washington Timeless. It's definitely it's not even a hill to climb. You're climbing Mount Everest at this point to take down the Valiant Guardians.
Washington Everest, I mean, they already climbed, Mount Kilimanjaro. I think that's further than Mount Everest, right? You're putting me on the spot because they lost to Drainers, right? That's where I'm going with this weird analogy. They had lost to Drainers in the Swiss. They toppled them. Barely, but they toppled them. So they have that experience. They have that ability because the other loss was to Valiant Guardians, as you talked about. We do have our bracket because, again, we came into today with 8 teams, and it is a double elimination bracket. So we can see on the top side of the bracket kind of how things are going. You get a little bit of that hint that Sneaky was talking about. Valiant Guardians 2-0, 3-0, no maps dropped. We just saw a fantastic series from Washington Timeless and Drainer. But again, it is double elimination. You do drop down to that lower side of the bracket, which we get perfectly on cue here. So it is going to be Drainers taking on Shigakami and Strix Bad Blood taking on Vancouver Titans Blue. So this is shaping up to be a very, very good tournament. The lower quarterfinals and our winners finals will be our final matches today. Everything else will take place tomorrow. And Sneaky, as we get ready to head into these first maps, what are you looking for from these teams? Is there something in particular you want to see from either squad on this first map?
Speed. As simple as that. Speed and proactiveness. I discussed it earlier with the Washington Timeless and Drainers game. I wanted to see speed, and when I asked, Drainers decided to give that to me, right? And I want to see that again for Washington Timeless. They do a really, really good job when they go fast, when they're proactive, and so I want to see that again, right? I mean, when you have players like Orion who are going to be doing anything they can on that support line, like Sawhill on the tank, like Mahler, who we just talked to, who is such a chill individual, it sounds like, as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and then you have your DPS line of Snozlar and Bun, who are always going to be popping off. This roster has the capabilities to completely just go forward through the Valiant Guardians. And that is what I want to see. I just want to see them be confident in what they do, because when Washington Timeless is on top of things, they're on top of things. And that's why they're so incredibly good, because they're not just a fly on the wall, right? They're not just a fly on the monitor. They just go straight towards whatever is in front of them, and they take it full force. And that's what I want to see from Washington Timeless here.
And not to mention just Sawhill, you also have to keep an eye on Sniper. Fully expect to see Sniper at certain maps. Most likely Numbani will be the case. But we've got to, again, you talk about being on top of things. Let's talk about the team that's been on top of things since we started this last week. Let's take a look at Valiant Guardians, HK, X10. Maybe a little bit of my bias with moving Fish 7. Of course, always great to see another Fish succeed. Haley and Aramori as well. This team has withstood every test. As you said, Sneaky, they have not lost a map, not just today, but Saturday of last weekend, Sunday of last weekend. I mean, they're going for the cleanest of all clean sweeps if they're able to pull it off. We start on Oasis. Again, these teams met in the Swiss earlier last weekend. It went to Valiant Guardians. The only difference is that was a best of 2. Now we play first to 3. So maybe we see push. Maybe we see Escort. Escort that map that really maybe leans Washington Timeless's favor. But before we get about map 5, Sneaky, we got to get about map 1. It's Oasis, the run back from what we saw last series. What are we looking for here on this map for both these teams?
I want to see the Jungle Queen come back out from Washington Timeless. From either Sawhill or from Sniper, I don't really mind which one, because they're both pop-off players. But I definitely do want to see the Jungle Queen. That is Washington Timeless's strength. That is what they live for. And so that's what I want to see more of. I want to see that Jungle Queen come out. They know how to run that composition. They know how to run it to perfection. So that's what I want to see. I don't want to see any switch-ups. And I think that's what we're going to end up seeing anyways. I think we will see a Jungle Queen. From the side of Valiant Guardians, I think we will end up seeing a mirror from them as well. There's a chance we see an Orisa come out. However, I'm going to be honest, I think I see the Jungle Queen come out more likely to take that mirror against Washington Timeless.
Game 1 just moments away here in our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Winners finals between Valiant Guardians and Washington Timeless. The winner locks in a spot in the grand finals tomorrow. The loser has to drop down to those losers finals. Well, they will also play tomorrow with the chance maybe for some revenge. But that's not what either of these teams are worried about right now. They're worried about the here and now. I am excited to jump into this, Sneaky. I cannot wait. And here we go. We do see the one Junker Queen Sawhill right now on the Reinhardt as we prepare to attack. What do you got your eyes on?
I have my eyes on Washington Thomas on this Reinhardt. I expected the Jungle Queen come out from Valiant Guardians, and we see the Symmetra, we see the Bastion. Very, very typical for the Jungle Queen composition, but Halo's already gone from Snozlar.
HK not long either. Immortality field from Armori has to go out to just keep Valiant Guardians in the fight. And who expected this, at least in our first fight of many in this series? An absolutely brutalizing of the Valiant Guardians from the Washington Timeless.
Yeah, really, really good job so far. And that first pick was honestly beautiful. I mean, that's all that Washington Thomas really needed. And once that Lucio is gone, it just GG, go next fight, right? The Ramattra going to be coming out from Moving Fish here on Valiant Guardians. And this is where things seem interesting because we did see a little tease of Ramattra last game, and I was interested to see it because of the Reinhardt. And this is why, right? That Ramattra can just shut down Reinhardt. So I am interested to see what happens here.
Immortality field from Orion already burned, and there's that Reinhardt burned as well. Armori and HK combining to start things off for Valiant Guardians, and this is the team we expected to see. An early hiccup, a mass murder on the point, and a flip for Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, Valiant Guardians doing that one really, really well. They immediately said, all right, we're not going to go JQ here. We're immediately going to switch over to this Ramattra, and we're going to change up our entire game plan. And that's exactly what they did. They just went over to this Ramattra, and they changed things up immediately here. I mean, Sawhill is going to be struggling to really find any way forward unless Bun can get these really good Symmetra TPs. But then you're running into X10 with this transformation on Bastion, where, I mean, do you really want to risk this? I think you might just want to switch back over to the JQ here. I like the Reinhardt, but against Moving Fish on the Ramattra, it's just risky.
Implication Matrix and Immortality from Armori going to go down as we see the Immortality field answered as well from the Mauler, and it's HK. The first elimination before the Photon Barrier can go out. We hear the artillery cry coming down, and it's a double kill for X10. Once again, dominant performance here from Valiant Guardians, and they win this fight with a great ult.
Yeah, and Valiant Guardians, they're just playing this one. They're waiting for Washington Timeless to engage because they know they can take the fight. They're okay taking this brawl because, yes, you're going up against a Reinhardt. That 85 damage a swing is very, very gruesome, but Moving Fish is going to pop Nemesis form and immediately going to be perfectly fine afterwards. Annihilation is ready, but Artillery Strike will be the first ultimate used from Snozlar, but can't quite find anyone, but Mauler will onto X10.
Great shatter going to come down from Sawhill, but the Annihilation answered from Moving Fish. We see both barriers coming out from the Lucios, but it's Valiant Guardians that last much longer, and it's Moving Fish with the fist absolutely punching down Washington Timeless.
Yeah, Valiant Guardians now final fight territory. No ultimates for either team. Snozlar on the Tracer, Sawhill on the Junker Queen here. Valiant Guardians. This really is the driest of fights here, Fish, as Sawhill is going to be on that Doomfist, looking for the best contest known to humankind here, but X10's going to shut that down as Snozlar is the first to be taken out.
X10 says, not on my point. That's not going to fly on my point, Snozlar. You're going right back to spawn. As you said, Sneaky, just trying to find some way in this last ditch to flip the fight. Unfortunately, they lose Bun. They lose Orion. They do get a minor pick onto HK, but I simply don't think it is going to be enough. We see why Valiant Guardians are the top of the top with a dominant performance on Control Map 1 as they take it 100-29. And we swap off meta? Does not matter for Moving Fish and Company. They bring out the Ramattra. You would never notice a difference.
Not at all, and that's sort of what we're going to see here from this Valiant Guardians team is they don't care what they're going up against. The flexibility of Moving Fish is unmatched in the entirety of Calling All Heroes, and no matter what Washington Timeless runs, either Valiant Guardians will look for the mirror, which is what we're going to be roughly seeing here, only a slight difference between the support line, that, or they're going to be running counter, which is what we just saw, right? They switched immediately off that JQ into the Ramattra and just shut down the Reinhardt composition coming out from Washington Timeless. Did they play fast? Yes. Is that what I wanted to see? Yes. But I also want to see Timeless switching over to the compositions when needed, because Valiant Guardians are going to do the same thing, and we're going to play counter comps all day. It's going to be a rock, paper, scissors game, and Valiant Guardians are going to be the ones who come out on top if Washington Timeless is not careful when Valiant Guardians runs these counter compositions.
Who comes out on top on map 2? It was an early win on map 1 for Washington Timeless, and then they could not taste the sweet, sweet thing of even a team fight win once again. We'll see what happens now. Immortality Field for Orion going to be burned, and you can just see the health bar. Sawhill and Bun both just hovering in that 20% range. Valiant Guardians barely a scratch across the side. The support's doing such a great job keeping everybody alive. As the point unlocks, it does go Valiant Guardians' way, though there has not been an elimination yet. Immortality Field forced out from Orion, the first major cooldown, and HK going to take it out. Already above 12% is Valiant Guardians. HK dropping low. Sawhill trying to stay alive, but it's Orion, the first elimination for X10 on this Ash. Bob already available for Ash, as X10 will get taken out, but that's the lone elimination that Washington Timeless get.
Yeah, now Valiant Guardians are going to be looking at almost every single ultimate here except for HK's Blade here on the side of Washington Timeless. However, they are not really going to have anything except for that sound barrier. That's going to be the closest you really have. And Valiant Guardians, they're going to ult first here. I can see a Kitsune Rush coming out early into a Rampage, or even just something as simple as a Bob into Washington Timeless and just shutting them down. Kitsune Rush will be the first thing to use here, Fish.
HK follows that Kitsune Rush up with an elimination onto Sawhill. X10 gonna get in on the fun as well. And it's right back to spawn. Go Washington Timeless. And maybe the best part about that, Sneaky, only one ult. No overkill for Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, and you don't need to, right? As long as you just scare Washington Timeless off, even if you take one pick, which is what X10's there for, then you win the fight, right? And Valiant Guardians now, I can see a Rampage or a Bob early for them on this side, and Halo going to be sitting here with this Blade, and that's going to be the scariest part, as HK will have the Blade, and the Bob is the first thing used once more.
Bob makes it a 6v5 as the sound barrier comes out from the Mauler very, very early. Ooh, Moving Fish moves right into a wall with that Rampage, but really nothing lost for Valiant Guardians. Washington Timeless still can't even round the corner. Snozlar gonna pop that overdrive, try and get an elimination, but it's HK with the Blade doing the work, though Bun actually able to win that kind of Genji 1v1 off. Unfortunately for Washington Timeless, even with those minor eliminations, they're not even able to get a pinky toe on the point until 99%. Sawhill going to use their own Rampage right back, but it's Moving Fish and company just taking care of business. It does look like the point might finally flip in Washington Timeless's favor with those eliminations, as Sawhill doing their very best to get that elimination onto Moving Fish. They needed that and a whole lot more, as the point still not being allowed to flip. Valiant Guardians doing such a great job just holding Washington Timeless hostage, not allowing them to flip the point, not allowing them to reset. They have to give everything here to keep this map from ending in a 100-0 as the respawns come back. Valiant Guardians in a full 5-on-5. The point still in overtime. For all of this, Washington Timeless have not flipped this. This is still final fight, and finally Sneaky, an elimination onto HK keeps Washington Timeless alive here.
It keeps them alive, but then immediately Bun will fall, and now Washington Timeless are going to be down one member. The Kitsune Rush is the first thing that comes out, and Valiant Guardians are just going to press W on this one.
That might be all Valiant Guardians needed. X10 with a pair of eliminations. 20% is what Washington Timeless should be able to get up to, maybe a little bit more as it flips, but do they have a final toe tap? You see the dash in from Bun, but unfortunately did not land quick enough. Valiant Guardians, a quick win on Control, a 2-0 like they've done almost all of this entire tournament. We did get a correction. Big shout out to everyone behind the scenes on us, Sneaky. They actually have lost one map this entire tournament as Valiant Guardians to Drainers in the Swiss. So maybe they wanted the revenge on Drainers, and that's why they're so mad and absolutely dominating.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense, but yeah, because now it's the vengeance of just saying, all right, no, we need to make this one clean, and I was a little worried at first, right, when I saw that the Washington Timeless used every ultimate there to try to get onto point there, and Valiant Guardians kept going, and this was genius from them. They were like, all right, they used every single ultimate. Now we go in, we build our own, and if we get a pick, then we just press W and we go in and we take the fight, and that's what happened, right? They quite literally did that. They waited for all their ultimates to start getting built up, and I think maybe the closest was Halo on beat, roughly 90-ish% there. But once the Genji fell down for the side of Washington Timeless, they just walked forward, and Valiant Guardians was able to get a nice 2-0 sweep. Washington Timeless only able to get about 45% in both rounds total. Valiant Guardians, this is why they are that scary team on top right now.
And I think the other thing that really was different from our last series with Drainers and Washington Timeless is it felt like in that series, every time someone lost a member, it would just kind of be like, all right, we're going to pull back. We're going to reset. Yep. Valiant Guardians, they lost a member in that kind of push that you were talking about. I don't know if Washington Timeless expected a reset, but then they immediately flip them on them, got that one pick you mentioned, and then just ran them down and flipped the point. There is not this sort of lull you to sleep that Drainers had working really well in that last match. It is Valiant Guardians. You give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And that's exactly what they did. And, I mean, you brought the Ramatra out. I mean, Orisa has, unfortunately, as Nerdy so cutely coined it, in my opinion, the battle cattle has just died at this point. We're eating steak for dinner because there are no battle cattle anywhere to be seen. And it's just been so great by Valiant Guardians to say, we don't need to go meta. We're going to bring out Ramatra, and we're going to absolutely dominate you as we take a look at these replays.
Yeah, and that's all the Valiant Guardian really decided to do is they said, okay, that's okay. We'll play into your composition, and you won't be happy about it. And I'm sure Washington Timeless weren't really happy about the Ramatra. And then this is where things get a little scary for Washington Timeless in terms of mental, right? One thing that I said going into this composition was that the Washington Timeless, their best composition was their Jungle Queen comp, right? And now to see that the Valiant Guardians mirrored that composition and completely took away that next map with it, or next round with it, that is very demoralizing. And now the Washington Timeless need to make a new decision, need to figure things out. And like you said, Fish, it's because the Washington Timeless, or I should say the Valiant Guardians had no fear, right? They didn't care if they were down a member. They just kept going no matter what.
I'm very confident I can predict the future. I think we're going to Numbani. I would be very
Really?
shocked, especially look at that. It's almost like I foresaw it because not only because it's the only hybrid map we've seen, I think, across the stream these last 2 weekends, it's also the fact that Washington Timeless in that last series against Drainer, while we heard from the Mauler that team felt they should have 3-0'd that, Numbani was kind of that map where we look back and say, that was the only one that wasn't ever really close. It was so one-sided for Washington Timeless. They had to pick this map, but now my concern becomes, Sneaky, what happens if they don't win this? What happens if they don't win Numbani? Because that will tell me all I need to know is Valiant Guardians are the team for a reason. I am really excited because this, again, not to count on Washington Timeless, this feels like winners finals right here. If they can't win on Numbani, I just don't see how they can win on a control map or on push.
Yeah, and like you said, that really is the question here is, if Washington Timeless can't win this payload-based map, what do you do, right? Because definitely we've seen that if there is a weakness of Washington Timeless, it is the control-based maps. It is those point-based maps. And if you lose this Numbani map, that means you have to win Flashpoint, where you're not even just trying to get up to 3 points. You're trying to get 5, right? And that is so incredibly just scary, and that thought that's going to be there now is we have to win Numbani. And what do you do here is the question, and the answer is you need to come up with something very different, unorthodox even, right? I wouldn't mind seeing the D.Va come back out like we saw on the Gibraltar, because it's possible, right? Throw an Echo in there, put an Ashe in there, right? And you can make this composition work, because Valiant Guardians, they will mirror your composition and they will win with it, so you need to come up with something better.
There's the one bonus we talked about for Washington Timeless. Fully expect Sniper to come in.
Yes.
Numbani has been their map. They played it last weekend. They played it this weekend. Maybe that's sort of the reset that Washington Timeless needs. I mean, we heard from Mahler in the interview before this series started. This team did a great job resetting mentals, kind of realizing in that Drainer series, we're letting things get away from us. Let's kind of take a step back. Let's refocus. And they did exactly that in Game 5. If there's a team to find a way to maybe get something to prove that Valiant Guardians can metaphorically bleed tonight, I think Washington Timeless, this is the shot. This is the map that they need to prove it on. Can they get it done on Numbani? That is the question. It is winners finals of our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. We've got Valiant Guardians, we've got Washington Timeless, Fish and Sneaky here, and we've got Numbani right around the corner on deck. And there's a Diva, Sneaky. I just don't know if it's the team that you were looking for to bring out the Diva.
It really wasn't. I wanted to see Washington Timeless come out with this Diva here, but never mind. I guess Diva is just not an option. Doomfist, on the other hand, will be the option for Valiant Guardians, and this comp is going to be poke dive galore coming out from Valiant Guardians, and this is going to be scary to see because Washington Timeless, they want to take Brawl, they want to get on top of you, they want to put those axe swings down, they want to find a way to just take you out. And now what we see is the Valiant Guardians saying, we're going to play poke, and then our dive is going to be Moving Fish and H-Key on this Genji and Doomfist, and this could go really, really badly for Washington Timeless if they aren't careful, especially for Orion.
First fight, Sneaky, what are we looking for?
Ideally, I'm looking for a fast push from Washington Timeless to get behind, and that's exactly what we're going to see. Snozlar going for the TP, and now just stabilize. I want to see a stabilize. If the Valiant Guardians get aggressive, you punish them for it. Wait for that next TP and go in, and Exton's going to make that difficult with Bun falling first, though.
Saw Moving Fish go in. HK is incredibly low and does get taken out. That will make it a 4v4 with both Genjis sent back to spawn. Trying to use that teleporter to hop back and forth on the high ground like we saw in the last series against Drainer. Not going to be as successful this time against Valiant Guardians. X10 is forced off the high ground very, very low. Not a lot of healing available for that Ashe. Bun looking to rejoin the fight and does get a great pick onto Halo. X10 as well. Just never was able to get back to full life. And Valiant Guardians and Moving Fish now dropping incredibly low. This should be at least a tick for Washington Timeless here. We'll see if there's even a re-engage for Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, I think it might be now that Mauler has fallen to Moving Fish here, and this is that composition where that Symmetra needs to worry about the stabilization of the team, and Washington Timeless is going to be close, but haven't quite found it here, Fish.
They're not going to be able to get in time to stop the payload, though they will send Bun and Snozlar back to spawn, but just a few moments too late to get the clean sweep. They do basically reset them, but big time extension for Washington Timeless. That's what they needed. They needed to not get stuck trying to get this payload.
Yeah, they really don't. They need to go fast. They need to continue this. And I'm going to sound like a broken record with the amount of times I say that, but that quite frankly is what winning Washington Timeless is. The fact that they're going with these TPs, getting in fast, stabilizing, then going forward. Exton's going to get really aggressive, though, with that Nano, trying to build that blade, but Sniper will take them down with an axe swing.
Washington Timeless has done a really great job. Every time Valiant Guardians wants to get a bit cheeky, wants to get maybe a little over-aggressive, they're able to counter it. Moving Fish with that ultimate going to jump right in, but taken out immediately by Snozlar Company. We see Maul and Sniper pick up a pair of eliminations as well. Finally start moving that payload. And every time Valiant Guardians has gut checked Washington Timeless, Sneaky, I will say Washington Timeless has responded and said, you're not going to get away with something like that.
Yeah, and this is what we expected to see from Washington Timeless, right? This is their strength. This is their map pick. It was this or Paradiso. So they definitely know what they're doing, right? Washington Timeless knows how to play this map, and this is a solid time bank that they have so far, right? I mean, it's 352. We're really, really good spot here, and Valiant Guardians was actually forced to switch over to this JQ mirror. So now Washington Timeless will need to be careful, as this is an exact mirror except Orion on the Baptiste and Aramori on this Kiriko.
Well, barely missed the full bingo board for Washington Timeless as the M-Matrix comes down just before everyone else's ult comes online. The M-Matrix just kind of forces a line of sight, but might be enough to get this second checkpoint. X10 going to throw Bob into the mix here. Bob in return from Snozlar, as well as the Blade from Bun. Unfortunately, immediately eliminated as the ashes start popping off. Orion with a great elimination. A huge, I think, triple in the ante lands from Washington Timeless' Sniper on the ult. And that's a team kill, and all of a sudden, Numbani reigns supreme for Washington Timeless.
Yeah, and this is almost identical to how we saw Washington Timeless go up against Strainers earlier today, Fish, and no ultimates for Washington Timeless, so you may just go into this fight early, try to force out that Blade, maybe even force out a support ability if they build it fast enough on the side of Valiant Guardians. Just try to force something out, build up your own. This is a vital fight for you to just put some damage in and just get some ultimates out in return, as Blade will be used from HK.
HK going to start with one. Bun answers back as the Genjis go wild, but it's HK picks up one, and as you mentioned with that 4-minute time bank, Washington Timeless can simply just afford to reset, not worry about too much, and those ults, they're pretty far away for Washington Timeless, Sneaky.
Yeah, Washington Timeless is in a really rough spot since they used every ultimate at the same exact time. They were all at about 1%. Valiant Guardians probably going to start early with a Kitsune Rush here. And there it is, coming out from Valiant Guardians.
You can see immediately Washington Timeless forced to just back away. Immortality Field immediately taken out. And that's that dry fight tech that Washington Timeless needs to employ, though. Get an ult. Reset, don't give away too much ult percentage yourself. Now we'll see if they look for the re-engage. They do have that Ant Matrix from Orion available. They're going into a barrier from Halo. They're going to have to do quite a lot of damage if they want to try and get around this corner on point 3. So far, no one lost yet, and you're coming up on a Rampage and Bob for Valiant Guardians. There's that sound barrier coming out from Halo. And it looks like Washington Timeless just simply want to try and retreat. Not able to get much Immortality Field. Not enough to save Mauler or Snozlar for that matter. And both ults out of the way, but 2 more back in the fold for Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, that's the problem with this sort of staying at 0 ult percentage for Washington Timeless a couple minutes ago is Valiant Guardians have a good ult rotation. They're going to have Bob and they will have Rampage for their team here. But Washington Timeless was able to build up their own, and now they are going to be close to getting every ultimate. The one good side of using every ultimate at the same time, you get almost all of them back at the same time. So Washington Timeless is going to be in a good spot here. I want to see an early window into a Rampage. I think that's going to do the best for for Washington Timeless. Try to prevent X10 from using that Bob or Moving Fish from using that Rampage, and you'll be set going into this fight. And there's the Amplification Matrix Fish.
Halo and Armori drop very low. Sniper doesn't even need to use the Rampage to get the first pick. Rampage actually come out from Moving Fish, landing onto all 4 members, but a great sound barrier from Mauler, able to neutralize most of that anti-healing as the Immortality Field goes down. Moving Fish going to fall as well, and only 2 ults burned. A great job by Washington Timeless. They're going to have 3 more as they round this corner.
Yep, it's going to be a Bob for both teams here, as well as the Kitsune Rush and H-Key. That's a big stagger coming in from the Valiant Guardians. Washington Timeless is going to be set really well here. An early Blade and a Rampage would set Washington Timeless up really well, but Snozlar is actually forced to use this Bob, and in return, X10 will throw theirs out.
Sniper able to get that elimination. You do see the Immortality Field coming out. Bob going to be taken out by Orion, so no longer an issue. Kitsune Rush from Armori going to come out as Washington Timeless trying to get that 3rd point here. At least guarantee themselves a shot at overtime on this map. As Sniper able to get an elimination, and Valiant Guardians forced back to their spawn. Blade gonna come out here from Bun as well. And great job by Washington Timeless, staggering Valiant Guardians, and that should be enough, and it is, to get the 3 cap, and Numbani was just the medicine that they needed.
Yeah, and also above that 1 minute threshold, which means that if we do see Valiant Guardians able to fully cap, if they cap with 0 seconds, Washington Timeless will be the only team attacking in round 4, so definitely in a good spot if you are Washington Timeless here, and I liked it, right? It was a really rough sacrifice, wasting about 2.5 minutes with those ultimates, and then risking giving the ultimate rotation to Valiant Guardians. However, the Washington Timeless did a really good job at it. They ulted that Amplification Matrix early, and that really set them up for the next fight. They were able to get a lot of good pressure going into that, and then they were able to just take the pick slowly off, and I was really, really happy to see that. Washington Timeless, no changes here. Snozlar on that Bastion, and we saw this last game, Fish. If you give Washington Timeless this high ground, they will take it, and they will rain fire onto you. Valiant Guardians, on the other hand, going to run with a Sigma. We mentioned it a few hours ago, Fish. This is interesting coming out from Valiant Guardians, as it's going to put you in a situation where you have a lot more walk ability, and Halo is going to be a lot more of that DPS rather than that support on this Iari, trying to find these quick little headshots and try to take out some of these targets for Washington Timeless.
And I think, as you said, I mean, obviously, anytime a teleporter goes down, it's top priority. But Washington Timeless in that last series, as you mentioned, against Draenor, use the high ground, teleport back and forth and back and forth, just creating space. And let's see if they can do it again. Valiant Guardians target acquisition has been fantastic. They usually have not allowed those teleports to last for a long time. But if Snozlar is able to kind of hop between spaces, create space with that tank form. This could be trouble, as right now Valiant Guardians just trying to take the fight right into the high ground. You see that teleporter immediately going down right in front of them, trying to allow Snozlor to teleport back and forth. Immortality field going down and immediately removed by HK, but Sniper in return gets an elimination onto X10. And so far, Valiant Guardians' first offensive push going to come up with absolutely nothing but a reset in Snozlor's with a late kill onto HK. Very, very big for Washington Timeless.
Yeah, it's very big indeed for Washington Timeless here. And your win condition here for the Valiant Guardians is Aramori's anti-nade. You have to land this and then follow up on it. That is the only way you win this, because Snozlar, if you're going to continue to take this tiny little choke, will just transform and shoot blazes down onto you, and you have to be very, very aware of that. So Aramori going to be that big win condition for the Valiant Guardians to hit those anti-nades, as we do see some pressure going in on to the support line here from HK on this Genji, trying to get some distraction up, but Nano Boost first thing to use on X10.
Trying to build to that artillery. We've seen so many great artillery picks, and X10 gets an elimination as Aramori's Nano that really makes an early impact for Valiant Guardians. But as I say that, they lose both HK and Halo. So it's a 3v3 with Orion going down. Mauler sitting on that barrier, dropping very low, but able to stay alive. X10 trying to spray down shots from the high ground, and there's only 2 minutes left, and no progress has been made from Valiant Guardians as the kills continue to trade back and forth, and that'll favor the defending team every time, as we do see the grab going to come out from Moving Fish, but there's really no one left on the team. This is just trying to stall out and hope for the reinforcements to come, and they're able to get back, but they're not able to make forward progress. So unfortunately, Orion does lose the immortality field, does get taken out in return. X10 sitting on that artillery. Finally, progress on the point with 1:45 on the clock, much longer than it took the Washington Timeless.
Yeah, Washington Timeless are definitely going to want to re-engage this, as the Photon Berry is the first thing to use. Now everyone's pressing Q here. Fish as Captive Sun's going to be used, and X10 will find the members they can to take this fight.
Once again, X10, I think their second double kill with artillery so far in this series, and that'll be the capture. But the big difference here, Sneaky, there's only 3 minutes on this payload. Washington Timeless had over 5 at this point, so Valiant Guardians need to move with your favorite word of the night, speed and fast.
Yes, indeed. And with Valiant Guardians, you're going to have this blade, but you don't really have the Nano to match up with it. Washington Timeless using this Amplification Matrix early, be proactive once again. Go early, make it hard for Valiant Guardians to even take any sort of a second of an inkling to get close, and the Stim TP is going to be the first thing used here, and Snozlar will take out Aramori, and it's a great fight for Washington Timeless.
Nano had just come online as well, though. X10 able to answer back, so it's a 4-on-4. Washington Timeless holding them at that first corner. Rampage going to come out from Sniper, landing that anti-healing onto quite a few members, but Valiant Guardians are able to stabilize. Halo picking up a kill. They've only lost that blade from Genji. Washington Timeless now finally able to answer with a couple of eliminations and able to force a reset here from Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, and I like how fast Washington Timeless is going with these Symmetra TPs, just going in and not really giving a chance for Valiant Guardians to take a break. But one thing I do want to see is I want to see some more flanks coming in from HK, right? I want to see some more off angles. I want to see some more locations for HK to go in, as the Amplification Matrix will be the first thing to use from Orion. It will be kited back, because HK going on these flanks, you don't have to worry about Ayari, and here's the blade to start the fight off.
Fortunately, the fight starts with Bun's elimination onto Halo. HK just gonna be line-of-sighted by the bus. A fantastic retreat from Washington Timeless. They already had the pick. They felt no pressure to play into that Genji. So HK is able to eliminate Snozlar with just only 40 HP remaining. Mauler and Sniper answer back, 2 eliminations on both sides. We do see the sound barrier going to come down from Mauler and Washington Timeless, who are trying to prevent Valiant Guardians from taking any sort of space. That's exactly what they're going to do, a pushback with an elimination onto Moving Fish. And now, there's less than 2 minutes left in Washington Timeless. They're in complete command.
Yeah, and Washington Timeless also has such a good ult rotation in their favor at the moment here. X10 will be switching over to this Ashe, Moving Fish on the Junker Queen, and going to start to look for this mirror. This Captive Sun is going to be needed for Valiant Guardians, but Artillery Strike's going to be used first here, just to make life even more difficult for the Valiant Guardians. No one will fall, but now the Washington Timeless going to be able to look for potentially a Photon Barrier for an engage to split this map early.
Yeah, artillery was dropped on the teleporter. I think they're trying to cover their own forward push. As you said, nobody died. The teleporter was taken out, and they didn't even need it. Photon barrier comes down, and they get a pair of eliminations. And all of a sudden, Valiant Guardians running out of time. What do we need to see here, Sneaky, from our top team if they want to keep Numbani going?
Valiant Guardians, they need to use Halo's ult. Halo has held this ult for 2 fights now. I need to see this Captive Sun used early and used immediately for this fight before Sniper has a chance to use this Rampage, because you know immediately Sniper will Rampage afterwards. So try to get this on Orion, try to get this on Mauler so that you don't have to worry about an Amplification Matrix on top of a Rampage. There's the Captive Sun, and we'll be able to find a couple, but will still fall.
Halo goes down. The Immortality Field does a great job of keeping them alive long enough. Orion will fall. H-Key on return as well. Less than 30 seconds left, and finally Valiant Guardians able to push, but Washington Thomas is going to probably get one more contest here to try and end this map.
Yeah, they will, and they'll also be using Rampage immediately onto it. I think Bun will have to be the one who can test this point, potentially. No, it looks like there will be a full regroup for Washington Timeless. Mauler will have this beat, and that's going to be huge. Valiant Guardians trying to build up this Kitsune rush. Bob and Kitsune will be used from the Valiant Guardians, and there's the Bob to start this fight.
Rampage being held on to for Sniper. They're able to contest just barely. Bob does get taken out, but before Sniper can get the Rampage off, Moving Fish with the elimination. Sound Barrier comes out just a smidge too late as the Kitsune rush is used in response. And there's no shot to end this map. Valiant Guardians able to keep it going.
Yeah, and Sniper falling there was just so unfortunate. That Rampage was needed to win that fight. Mauler just not quite able to find that beat in time, but we are going to see some switches come out from Washington Timeless. Orion now going to be on the Kiriko and Snozzler on this Ashe. So almost a direct mirror. Bun going to still be on the Symmetra. Sniper as well still on this Junker Queen here. H-Key going to be able to get on this backline, specifically on the Snozzler. And this is going to be very, very dangerous for Washington Timeless, because that dynamite damage is going to be completely counterproductive if you have a Genji on you the whole time.
50 seconds left. Not quite able to get the payload around the corner. Both Rampages up, as well as that blade from H-Key. Who will be the first one to go in? Time on the side of Washington Timeless. They've already got that minute and 3 seconds locked in. How much time will Valiant Guardians have, if any, if we head into overtime? We see here comes the blade from HK. X-Tech going to be the first one to fall, as the Sound Barrier just a tad too late, but they still pick up 2 eliminations. Photon Barrier going to go down, as well as that Rampage from Sniper going to land onto 3 of the 4 members left alive for Valiant Guardians. The return Rampage. Moving Fish still somehow barely alive in the back line. How is Moving Fish staying alive right now? They have had less than 20% HP most of this fight, and that still the tank for Valiant Guardians does not fall.
That was incredible. I don't know how they managed to stay alive, but yet Moving Fish still alive. Kitsune Rush comes out with the Bob, and Washington Timeless could take this one, Fish.
Oh, it's in overtime, and as they were around in the corner, I think you're going to be completely right, Sneaky. They are going to stop them barely ahead of an overtime, but it's Washington Timeless, and it's exactly what we talked about leading into this series, right, Sneaky? We know you can win on map 2. We think you're probably favored if we get to map 5. They did win on map 2. Now the question is, how do they win on either Flashpoint or Push to get us to Escort?
Yeah, that's now the scary part, right? Is now you have to win one of the 2 types of points here that you struggled on against Drainers earlier today, and which one do you want to take your gambit on, right? Do you want to try and win that on Flashpoint, or do you want to try to win that one onto Push? And either way, it's not a great circumstance to be in, because if you say, okay, yeah, no, we can win Push. All right, well, okay, Escort, that 5th map is already going to be in your favor, but do you really want to be on the back end this entire match where you always have that feeling where you don't have that buffer, right, where you're always going to be risking that loss? Washington Timeless in a interesting spot, but you have to stay calm, and I think that's where Mauler comes in, staying calm, knowing what your strengths are in the compositions, because when Washington Timeless knows what they're doing and they play the comps and they play the maps that they want to play, this is what we see from them, right? We see Washington Timeless play incredibly well, and they end up winning, right? Especially Orion with these Amplification Matrix, which has just been truly incredible the whole game, the whole day, actually, I should say, and this is what's been really helping the Washington Timeless as a whole. And now it's okay. The reason you were up 2 in the first place against Drainers earlier is because you were able to get that control. Now do you think you're going to be able to get this Flashpoint after what happened on Control and earlier what happened on Flashpoint against Drainers?
And it really boils down to it. You made a great point, Sneaky. that Washington Timeless has won when they've had control of the map. I mean, I know technically Drainers picked Numbani, but everyone's been picking Numbani, right? We knew we were going to Numbani, but Washington Timeless got to pick Escort. Now you've got to win at least one of Valiant Guardian's picks, whether it's Flashpoint or if you lose Flashpoint, win push, then they're going to get a choice on Escort. I think this is going to be very interesting. I think obviously the answer is let's try and win on Flashpoint, but just looking back at what we have, that Flashpoint against Drainers wasn't close. I think it was a 3-0 on the Flashpoint itself. The push was a very back and forth. It took a final fight from Drainers to kind of win that. So I think it looks like on paper, push is your map to win. But as you said, do you really want to be on the back foot against Valiant Guardians this entire time? And I mean, is there comps left you think that Washington Timeless can pull out on these control maps? Because it has really just kind of been, at least on the control we saw against Valiant Guardians, Valiant Guardians said, we're just going to play your counter, or we're going to play a mirror, we're just going to outplay you on it. Is there a comp you think they have, they can pull out on push or Flashpoint to maybe steal one from Valiant Guardians?
I like how Washington Timeless played this one, right? I liked Orion on this Kiriko. I liked the way that Washington Timeless played this with the Bastion as well. This Jungle Queen comp was good. Valiant Guardians, yes, took the mirror and did win on control, but clearly Washington Timeless can win the mirror if the map is in their favor. So I think depending on what map we end up going to, whether that be a New Junk City or that be Servasa, I think Washington Timeless can definitely bring this one out on the Junker Queen. However, it's going to be a very hard task because, one, you're fighting on point, which already is more of a struggle, and you have to go up against the Valiant Guardians who are okay with taking this mirror and won't resist.
And this is a tough spot to be in. I really do. I think we sound like a broken record at this point, but I think it's going to come down to how Washington Timeless plays. They have to prove us wrong, and we're not rooting against them. It's just what we've seen today. Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned, the first control against Valiant Guardians across two maps, they got 40% combined. It really does feel like Flashpoint could be a repeat. And, I mean, maybe it's Sawhill and Sniper. Maybe you do something different than you did against Drainers with which tank you're going to bring in. And we're actually going to get a different Flashpoint. We've seen New Junk City almost predominantly kind of like that Numbani pick, but it's going to be Servasa. Do you think that changes anything for either of these teams on a different Flashpoint map besides New Junk City?
Yes, however, it worries me because it was Valiant Guardian's pick. If it was Washington Timeless's pick, I would say, yes, this works great, because especially on a map like this, you can run a Symmetra and keep your Junk Queen on high ground, especially on points like Gold, where you can get really on that high ground. You don't have to worry about too much, or even the starting point in that purple area where you can play that high ground. I think it's very, very winnable for Washington Timeless. And that's why I would say, if this was Washington Timeless's map pick, I could see them taking this Flashpoint, but it wasn't. And that is more the worry that I have, is that Valiant Guardians chose this map in particular, which means they have a composition in mind, and I wouldn't really doubt them if they chose to go with a Doomfist or another Bastion style of composition, even potentially with an Orisa coming back out, that Battle Cattle coming out with that Bastion, potentially with a Symmetra. I can guarantee see that, or not guarantee, but I can definitely see that coming out from the side of Valiant Guardians, because this map is very, very easy to manipulate with the Symmetra. Or not.
I appreciate the breakdown. You know, I wish if only the teams appreciated the breakdown as much as I did, Sneaky, but it is going to be that Junker Queen mirror once again. Again, if you haven't seen Flashpoint, there's 5 of them scattered around the map. They'll unlock one at a time. You need to win 3 of the Flashpoints, get to 100% before the other team does, in order to claim the win and go to game point for either of these teams. It's the first Flashpoint just mere seconds away from unlocking, and it's Nozlor dropping very, very low, but able to be stabilized. Orion and the Mauler doing a great job. Now it's HK's turn. The DPS for Valiant Guardians, who's going to be sustained, trading back and forth, but no real winners quite yet, as we do see health bars for Valiant Guardians. Actually, the ones in the negative. Moving Fish finally does go down. Was a master of staying alive last map at low HP. And here we go, Washington Timeless. They're ready for control this time as they get a team kill.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the first time we've actually seen an exact mirror in Junker Queen composition. I think it was relatively close in the past, either with a Baptiste or something of the sort, but now this is an exact mirror coming out from both of these teams, and especially on a point like this purple point here in the center, This I do expect Washington Timeless to thrive in because there's high ground, because you don't have to play that point as hard as you do on normal control. So I definitely see this in the favor of Washington Timeless here, as Bun is already going to be no abilities and can't quit to get into this high ground.
As you say it, Bun, no abilities and no life. They are sent back to the spawn doors. Sawhill, the next target, and it looks like the point will flip here at 67% in favor of Valiant Guardians, and now they're going to look to push Washington Timeless back. The Kitsune Rush from Orion is going to be used even as they wait for the run back for Bun, as Snozzler will go down. Both sound barriers available, as well as that Rampage. Sawhill actually going to go down mid-alt cast, so not able to get any value at all, and you have to wonder if Washington Timeless should have opted for a reset when they lost Bun.
Yeah, especially because Flashpoint, it's common to hear in scrims nowadays, it's a 2-fight game mode, and that really is. You know, once you lose fight 1, then you're already at 50%, which you already see from Valiant Guardians. 1 more, and you're moving on, and that Rampage is going to be so good. It's Snozzler falling is going to be it. If you're watching Timeless, I just say reset, go next point.
We saw that against Drainers. They lost the point and just said, we're going to fight on point 3. We're not going to take the fight here and force something. And that pretty much seems to be the case. Maybe just trying to build some alt charges, because it is a full bingo board for Valiant Guardians. Everybody's verified on Twitter on that side. Check marks across the board. And Washington Timeless is kind of taking this weird approach here, Sneaky. It looked like they were waiting, maybe trying to lure Valiant Guardians to sleep. They are going to burn 3 ultimates here. Bob's going to come out here as well for Washington Timeless. But you just have to wonder if GG go next point was maybe the right play here, because they're going to get sent back to spawn, and they used every ultimate they had in a losing fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching in Timeless, I understand the tactic there. You want to try to get out as many ultimates as you can from the Valiant Guardians, which you were able to get out both support as well as Rampage, but in return, you used your Sound Barrier as well as your Bob, and that's going to put you in an interesting spot here, as Bun is going to have Blade, and that's really all you have against the Bob and the Blade coming out from Valiant Guardians, and they're already going to be on point as well, so Washington Timeless has to be the one to engage here, when all Valiant Guardians has to do is throw a Bob on point, and Washington Timeless is going to be the one really struggling to get onto point here.
Kitsune Rush just around the corner for Orion. If they're able to stall it long enough, should be available. Bun dropping very, very low. There is that Bob you talked about. Blade going to come out from Bun and immediately eliminate X10. A massive elimination for Washington Timeless. Mauler going to follow it up with a pick onto Aramori, and just that Blade was able to at least lean it in Washington Timeless' favor. Can they finish off the rest of Valiant Guardians is going to be the question. They take down H-Key, and they're kind of able to do it despite walking right into a Bob.
Yeah, and that's very, very good plays coming out from the Washington Timeless now. Also going to be able to get 2 ultimates back up in their name. That alt rotation, if you're looking at the percentages as well, is also going to be very, very favorable for the Washington Timeless here. Valiant Guardians, on the other hand, only going to have this Blade. Not really going to have anything else. Washington Timeless is going to be approaching 50% before the Valiant Guardians even have a chance to engage onto this point here. Kitsune Rush will probably be the first thing used coming out from Orion, and there it is, Fish.
H-Key be able to answer back. It was a huge Blade kill onto X10 that unlocked this point for Washington Timeless. Unfortunately, Halo going to go down from Sawhill, and it looks like Valiant Guardians will hold on to their ult and potentially opt for a quick reset with Halo going down, as Washington Timeless in the last fight territory. As you mentioned, the run back so far on Flashpoint.
It really is, and now Washington Timeless will have this Rampage, and I kind of want to see it go early. Try to take out Aramori or Halo. You know they're going to have their support ultimate abilities here, so you need to make sure that these supports fall early, but Aramori is not going to give them the chance as a Kitsune Rush comes out.
Sawhill's not going to get the chance to ult and return Aramori with the elimination at 99%. Bun going down as well, and a point flip, and now Valiant Guardians able to hold on and maybe 2 fights away from going to match point on Flashpoint.
Very much so here, and now Valiant Guardians are in a relatively good spot here. They're going to have beat for anything the Washington Timeless throw at them, which in this case would be Rampage, and I want to see this go fast, and I really got to stop saying that because I do sound like a broken record, but I need to see the Valiant Guardians do something immediately in, but it's not going to happen, and now Washington Timeless have the Bob on point.
Bob and Blade, and it's H-Key's Blade that takes out Mauler before the sound barrier is able to go down. Halo got their own sound barrier down in return, and that's going to do it for Washington Timeless on this fight. and then maybe Sneaky, maybe get back to contest this.
Yeah, potentially you can, as Snozlar will switch over to the Sojourn here. Washington Timeless, I do believe, want to recontest this, and I do respect this decision. You have the ultimate abilities to do it here. And Valiant Guardians, if they can find an early pick on the Moving Fish, this will be a very winnable fight for the Washington Timeless here.
Bob going to be used for X10 immediately. Sound Barrier plus Blade coming out for Washington Timeless. It's X10, the first one to fall once again. Sawhill sitting on that rampage as well as Bun's able to get elimination onto Aramori, and it looks like Washington Timeless will contest at the exactly perfect moment. They'll flip it in their favor, and they'll make it 1-1 as we head to Flashpoint 3.
Yeah, and if you're watching Timeless, you're feeling a lot more confident now off of what happened at the Drainers game earlier. You're now not 3-0'd. You are 1-1, and it's very, very close indeed. Washington Timeless, I believe both these teams are going to meet up on this point at the same exact time. It does look like here Sahil still holding on to this rampage. And Valiant Guardians have nothing, so Washington Timeless, one ultimate will give them this win immediately to go in and just take this point. So one early Kitsune or Rampage, and you're going to be good if you are the Washington Timeless, as there's the Kitsune.
Can they win the fight? And it looks like with an early elimination onto Halo, the answer is going to be yes. Flashpoint unlocks right now, and it's immediately going to be picked up by the Washington Timeless. A fantastic job. One ult, one Flashpoint in their favor.
Yep, and now the Washington Timeless going to be pretty good here, but Valiant Guardians already back on this point and going to be ready to engage very, very shortly here, and are actually going to get the map flipped on them on this control point.
Aramori going to start the fight with the Kitsune Rush, and there's an elimination onto Bun. Rampage still being held onto by Sawhill. The Snozlar goes down with both DPS falling. This looks like a reset for Washington Timeless, and that will be the case, and Valiant Guardians back in control.
Yeah, and Valiant Guardians, since they were able to kite that really well earlier on, Washington Timeless was only able to get to about 30% before that next fight came in, and now the Valiant Guardians going to be close to that 50% mark, potentially even 60 or 65, as Washington Timeless, like you mentioned earlier, Fish, still holding on to that Rampage. That needs to be used from the Washington Timeless, because the Valiant Guardians, if you don't use that Rampage, H-Key will throw in their Blade, and then the beat will be there as well. So Washington Timeless needs to make something happen, and they need to make something happen specifically to H-Key or Halo.
Beat for Halo, about 5% ahead of Maulers. We'll see which one gets dropped first. There it is, coming out from Halo. There's the Rampage in return. Everybody going to be sustained. But, oh, Mauler's beat comes down just after Sawhill goes down. Overclock is going to be used by Snozlar. Bob going to be called in for reinforcements. But that tank difference of Moving Fish being alive might make all the difference for Valiant Guardians as Aramori takes down Bun. And unfortunately, just that beat a second too late. And that's the difference on the Flashpoint.
Yes, it is, and now Washington Timeless is going to have to fight once more to even this back up. We kind of mentioned it earlier in terms of map being on that back burner, but now it's on that point, right? And Washington Timeless needs to get on this point fast, and they need to make sure that Valiant Guardians can't get secure on it, but all that's there to really contest is Sawhill.
There's a Rampage up for Moving Fish, and they're going to rip it immediately. Damage onto Sawhill, the ante, just too much to do anything about. Snozlar going to go down as well, and that's why you talk so much about that Rampage being used, Sneaky. It just won that fight for the Valiant Guardians.
Yeah, especially if you can force out that cleanse. If that Rampage is going to hit your Kiriko and then someone else in the back line, that Kiriko has to decide who they want to cleanse. And in this case, specifically, Orion cleansed themselves, and after that, it was just an easy win for the Valiant Guardians to take out the next target who was antied in that fight. So now Valiant Guardians will be in the lead here. Washington Timeless need to find an early pick onto Aramori here, make sure that Kitsune Rush gets no value, but Aramori is playing really safe right now, and I'm really liking it.
Kitsune Rush going to be answered by the Blade from Bun. Unfortunately, Snozlar going to go down. It's 2 eliminations apiece as Moving Fish holding down this Flashpoint. Mauler able to get elimination. It's just Moving Fish and Aramori on the point. How much percentage can they stall? Can they buy time for their team? Moving Fish has been nearly unkillable this entire match, and once again, somehow in a 1v5, it's just staying alive and burning time.
Yeah, Moving Fish will look like to stay alive here. No, Sawhill will find the knife, actually, and that's going to be really, really good for the Washington Timeless here, as now they will be able to reach at least 40% with no tank to get in their way in terms of moving fish. Washington Timeless will have a lot of ultimates in their favor, as well as Valiant Guardians. I want to see Washington Timeless play forward. I don't want to see them play on point, because once Valiant Guardians can get there, you're forced to kite and you're off of point, and Valiant Guardians can flip. I want to see Washington Timeless hold forward, but it looks like they will be holding on to point here, and this may get them a little bit in a risky spot as Kitsune is used.
Ryan uses the first support ult. There's both sound barriers online. Halos once again will drop theirs first, and once again Sawhill is dead before Mauler can get their sound barrier off. Will that be the difference once again? Bob going to come out, Bun not able to be sustained through. Sawhill respawning, but I think it once again might be that tank difference as Snozzler trying to clutch it up for the team. Armory and X10 able to finish him off. Point will be flipped, and this is potentially the final fight on Flashpoint for Washington Timeless.
Yeah, Washington Timeless has to get here fast. They're only going to have about 15 seconds left to get there, and they will be able to, but they have no ultimates here, Fish. They need to make sure that, in my opinion, I think you need to take out Armory first and then go for H-Key. Avoid that blade as best as you can. But, I mean, with 3 ultimates, who do you go after first here? Armory being your best bet.
Bob and Blade up for Valiant Guardians. Kitsune Rush only 5% away. Bob is going to be the first to call in, and Sawhill going to be the first to set back to spawn. The Blade comes out from H-Key as well. There's only 2 members left, and it's not going to matter. It is a Flashpoint victory for Valiant Guardians, and they are on match point here in our winners finals.
Yes, they are. The Valiant Guardians showing a really, really strong performance right now, but yet Washington Timeless still also showing a very, very good performance. They were able to take that one Flashpoint map or round in their favor. I believe it was the second one that went into their favor there. Really, really close, and they were able to play it really well, but unfortunately, they just couldn't quite find the right targets. Even when the Washington Timeless were in the lead, they could have found a target. They were able to find someone and eliminate them. It wasn't the right option, right? A lot of those times, Armory just sort of chilling back on Kiriko nonetheless, right? Not even on Ana, but on Kiriko, standing back, staying alive, and then using an ultimate ability or keeping that cleanse on whenever was needed, staying alive. And that was so difficult for Washington Timeless, as they were never able to get the right target eliminated.
And I think, speaking of targets, the other problem was multiple times, I think 2 times on that map, we had both sound barriers available for both Lucios. Halo gets full value, and unfortunately for the Maulers, Sawhill dies.
Yep.
Even, I think, one time in the animation of sound barrier, and that proved to be the difference in both those fights, is Sawhill not being there, that tank not able to eat space, and then just the Rampage usage, or maybe non-usage for Sawhill, is the other thing we have to touch on, Sneaky, because there were, I think, several times it sat on it, couldn't find the right value, and that proved to be the difference as well.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this comp, I think your goal here, keep your tank alive, right? If you are Washington Timeless, keep Sawhill alive, because when Sawhill's alive, the amount of pressure that this Jungle Queen can put in is insane, right? So keeping that tank player alive is so incredibly good, because we saw it on Moving Fish, even in no reason whatsoever for Moving Fish to stay alive, is still alive, right? Yeah. And it proved to show that when Moving Fish was alive, that Jungle Queen value was so incredible and gave so much more value than when Sawhill's Jungle Queen was unfortunately not able to stay alive. And it was so hard, because when you have Moving Fish alive on that Junker Queen, you have players like X10 who can sit back and put in that damage. Players like Armory who can sit back and put in that damage as well. But on the side of Washington Timeless, when Sawhill is dead, now Snozzler has to worry about a Junker Queen on them, and has to worry about X10 also shooting at them at the same exact time.
We go to push. It felt like, if you had to pick one, if you're a Washington Timeless fan, or just from what we had seen so far, push was going to be the map they probably took down Valiant Guardians on. They looked so much better on that map versus Drainers. I mean, it really was, I think, 5 meters until the very, very end. So this feels like, again, not the situation they want to be in at all, but this feels like where they can look to make that move. Then on Escort, potentially steal one, because this does feel like a very strong payload team. And I'm very curious, because that was a better Flashpoint that we saw against Drainers, against a stronger team than Drainers. So maybe that's going to be the difference. But man, if you're Washington Timeless, you really got to say, how can we make the difference on push? And I think the question for you that I have, Sneaky, is last time on push with Drainers, it was very slow, right? I mean, we saw Drainers with line of sight until they look for something. I don't think Valiant Guardians wants to play that way. Do you think that at all helps Washington Timeless?
I think it might, yes, because now Washington Timeless won't be, in a sense, forced to mirror the May and put the pressure that they had to put on Drainers earlier onto Valiant Guardians. I think the mirror of both teams not playing slow is actually going to go in favor of how Washington Timeless likes to play. Do I believe that's going to give them the win? Absolutely not. I think it could go either way in those teams. I think going fast does not guarantee that Timeless is going to win, but I also think going fast is not going to guarantee that Valiant Guardians is going to win. So I'm not saying that whatsoever. But what I am saying is that Washington Timeless, when they play slow, there is a much higher chance that they will lose the map. And I think if Valiant Guardians are willing to play fast into Washington Timeless and let Washington Timeless play fast, it will be very, very close. And instead of us seeing that 2-meter difference every time going back and forth, we may end up seeing something a lot more like one team has checkpoint and the other one only about 20 meters down.
We'll have to see. It is going to be Coliseum. That was the pick for Washington Timeless last time when they were in this situation. It does not shock me that this is their pick once again. Against Drainers, very, very close. Speaking of Drainers, sort of a mid-tournament update. They have advanced to the loser semifinals, taking down Chigakami 3-1. So they will continue their tournament here tomorrow alongside the Valiant Guardians, alongside Washington Timeless. Remember, the loser of this just drops down to those lower bracket finals. You're not out of it yet. And what do we need to see on Coliseum? What do you think Washington Timeless has up their sleeve, if anything? This is their map. Last time they got forced to play slow with the May. What do you think they need to bring out here, Sneaky, in order to get us to a game 5?
I think they've run what they ran originally against Drainers earlier today before having to switch up their comp. Run that Junker Queen, including I actually do like Orion on this Kiriko over the Baptiste. I think it could work. However, I think that Kiriko does a really, really good job going into the fight and getting aggressive and getting that ability that they do have to play fast and aggressive. And that's going to play more to Washington Timeless's play style of going in and getting aggressive and not really letting the Valiant Guardians breathe, right? That's what this comes down to. We say fast a lot, but I haven't really explained why that's such a good thing. And it's because the faster you play, the more aggressive you play. If the enemy team isn't able to kite back and they can't kite and they can't re-engage, then you're in a situation where that aggressiveness, where that aggression just pummels down your opponent without the Ramatra. Yes, pun intended. But you end up in a situation where you're literally getting choked of air and you can't engage because of how fast you're going, because of that aggression, because of all that damage you can put in. So I would like to see a Sojourn. I'd like to see the Junker Queen, potentially even a Bastion come back out with a Kiriko and that Lucio. I think that's going to work best for Washington Timeless here.
It is map 4. Coliseum, Washington Timeless's choice. They're trying to extend the series for Valiant Guardians, who have only dropped 2 maps all tournament dating back to last weekend. They are looking to punch their ticket into grand finals and be undefeated at that. Who will be able to claim it? Valiant Guardians looking very strong on Flashpoint. We do see double Reinhardt locked in for now. Of course, plenty of time for them to change, and we'll see, Sneaky, if you can break down these comps before somebody messes with your excellent analysis.
I wouldn't mind seeing Reinhardt on either side. It's kind of like the Junker Queen. If you can run this run... Okay. You know what, Fish? It's okay.
You tried.
It's okay. This is what I wanted to see, though. I did want to see more of this Junker Queen, Kiriko, Lucio. The Ashe, Genji... I'm okay with an Ashe or a Sojourn here. I think the Ashe does give off that dynamite value. And so to see this mirror, I think it's very, very possible. Like we saw earlier, the mirror can very much work for Washington Timeless if they get aggressive, my apologies, and go fast. They get the value on that dynamite, and they can force back players like HK on this Genji.
You can already see Valiant Guardians pushing up so much further than Drainer did in this last showdown. Both teams just looking for that first elimination. Dynamite going all over the place. We see Bun dash in, trying to find an elimination. Orion, the first one to drop, incredibly low. Not really being healed up either. Barely hanging on at about 15% now. Finally able to reset that health is the support for Washington Timeless. Moving Fish already low, but we know this player has a version of just staying alive whenever it matters. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Sniper now, the target of aggression. So far, neither team has found a pick in this early back and forth exchange, but you could just see how much more aggressive Valiant Guardians is. But this time it might cost them, as HK going to be the first one eliminated. This is a chance for Washington Timeless. Unfortunately, they're also going to lose their Genji as well. So it's a 4v4. Bob already available for X10, but a sound barrier from the Mauler able to barely keep Snozzler alive at a sliver of HP. Kitsune Rush coming out from Aramori. Snozzler going to be taken out. Orion instead chooses to hold on to that Kitsune Rush, and that might be the difference in that first fight. Is now down to DPS, down both supports. Sneaky, it took him almost 2 minutes, but it's Valiant Guardians who strikes first.
Yeah, and this is, if you're watching Timeless, I think you're okay with this, right? This is what you're more comfortable in doing, where the fights last maybe a long time or maybe really, really fast, but both teams get ultimates in a matter of one fight, right? Washington Timeless here has ultimates here, have the ability to take this, and this I think is more comfortable, but this is also why I mentioned it's more likely that we see a 20-meter to a checkpoint situation because of how fast these fights will be taken. And Washington Timeless will need to go immediately, and there's the Kitsune Rush to match it.
Aramori, oh, not able to be eliminated, but the Rampage will finish him off. Sniper able to get that kill. We do see the sound barrier going down, but just a little bit too late. But unfortunately, a huge blade return for HK, able to get 2 eliminations. Bob going to be called in here for Snozzler. Every ult thrown out by Washington Timeless, and they're able to start pushing, but just barely. Sneaky. It's a great ult from HK, stops them in their tracks.
Yeah, and since we're on this Junker Queen brawl composition, both teams really don't have anything. We're back to a dry fight in a sense. The only one closest is Bun on this blade, and this is where Washington Timeless can take this one back, but they need to start getting forward as HK will fall, but both Genjis are now gone here, Fish.
Genjis have had a lot of simultaneous deaths so far on Coliseum. That favors Valiant Guardians just in the fact that they're up 34-8 right now. X10 nearing that Bob as Bun runs back from the spawn. We do see the Kitsune Rush available for Aramori as well. I think they want to wait for their Genjis.
Yeah, and you need to, right? Especially for Washington Timeless. You have that blade, you don't want to risk it, but Kitsune is going to be used early by Valiant Guardians.
Right off the back of the Kitsune, they're going to pick up a double, make it a triple kill here for the Valiant Guardians. HK going to find one more, didn't even get the blade off from Bun, and they're maybe looking at first checkpoint here for the Valiant Guardians.
Yep, that was a really good early proactive play coming out from the Valiant Guardians with that Kitsune Rush here. Washington Timeless still haven't been able to use that Dragon Blade yet from Bun, and now Valiant Guardians going to get really close to that checkpoint here, but early you get Bun in and you get the blade as there it is. Oh!
And Bun unfortunately is eliminated with the blade. Moving Fish can add another, and Valiant Guardians has more or less just shifted into another gear, Sneaky, and this push map is starting to get away from Washington Timeless.
It is, and that's the hard part about these fast comps is immediately you start to lose your grip and it will start to snowball. That's just push in general. Bun immediately going to switch over to this Mei instead of the Genji. Try to get a little bit slower and try to take out Moving Fish on this Jungle Queen. Force them out and punish them for the aggression, as Bob is going to be used early here for Washington Timeless.
Get an elimination onto X10. They have 3 more in the tank as well, as Halo's going to throw down that sound barrier. And Sniper able to find a couple more eliminations for Washington Timeless. They're finally able to reset the robot, but the problem is, Sneaky, they've still got to win probably 1 or 2 more fights to even get close to that 77-meter mark, as they're doing a great job with the Valiant Guardians of just delaying this robot.
Yeah, and that really was a really good delay from Aramori, especially because you're on that kill-to-kill. You can just swift step over to one of your teammates, teleport over, say hi, how you doing, and get back into this fight, as Valiant Guardians with the forward spawn as well going to be able to contest right at these arches. They're in a really good spot. We're approaching 4.5 minutes here. Washington Timeless already knowing that recontest is going to be there, and they're going to back up.
3 ults available for Washington Timeless. And there is the Kitsune Rush to start things out for Orion, trying to force Valiant Guardians back. You see the Mei wall go down. Rampage going to come out from Sniper, now in for Sawhill on that tank lineup, and able to get a massive elimination onto Halo. Moving Fish going to go down as well. And that's the first fight they needed to win, Sneaky, but now they've got to win another one if they want to hit that first checkpoint and that 77-meter mark. The Sniper's just looking to delay them at all costs.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good stagger onto Aramori, especially because that Kitsune Rush is no longer going to be usable for the Valiant Guardians right now. Washington Time is doing their best to spawn hold the Valiant Guardians for now, as they know the ultimate advantage is in their favor. They just need to try and get as close, if not to the checkpoint, as possible. Moving Fish going to look for a drop here into a Rampage very soon, as Blade will find one on a Mauler.
Even able to get away as well, eliminating that sound barrier, and that may be a massive difference. Blizzard is going to go down. Sniper stops Aramori once again, but Washington Timeless down in numbers 4-3. Halo and Moving Fish both incredibly low, but once again, it's the ability of this team to stay alive, and looks like that's going to force a reset for Washington Timeless, and they're running out of time.
Yeah, and Valiant Guardians only use that Blade there, putting them at such a good position. Washington Timeless will be able to start to get a little bit of recontest here as we approach that 3-minute mark. Washington Timeless in a good spot for this recontest. We're back at a neutral 0 for these teams, so Washington Timeless going to be looking to try and find an early pick. Valiant Guardians, on the other hand, not going to be looking for an early pick, but rather an early ultimate ability.
Once again, both sound barriers going to be up. Can Mauler keep Sniper alive? That's going to be something to watch out for with this sound barrier. Bob from Snozzler and X10 going to be coming in, so it's now a 6v6 for both these teams. Sound barrier from Mauler going to go out. It doesn't land on the Snozzler, but it keeps everyone alive. Halos in return does the exact same thing, missing out on the Ash, but stabilizing everybody else. Here's the Rampage from Moving Fish. Only going to be able to land onto Bun, and the Cryo Fees should be able to keep that Mei alive, cancel out the anti-healing as Moving Fish and X10 pushed back. There's the Kitsune Rush from Aramori. Will Orion answer with their own ult? Yes, they will. Both teams battling back and forth, but these long fights, they favor the Valiant Guardians because Washington Timeless still has so much further to go, Sneaky.
Yeah, they do favor the Valiant Guardians in such a good way because you still have that ability that you can just recontest immediately, especially when you have such a fast composition here. Washington Timeless don't really have anything open for them to use. HK will, however, and this fight's going to get very dangerous very fast, but X10 will be taken out with the Blizzard used by Bun as well.
Moving Fish barely able to hang on. A nice freeze onto HK, but they're going to be able to survive. Use the Blade, get one elimination onto Mauler, find one more onto Snozzler, and just like that, Valiant Guardians are going to force a reset from Washington Timeless with 1.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and now this gets very dangerous into treacherous territory here for the Washington Timeless. Is no ultimates to their name, so what do they do to bring this one back? You ult track, you figure out that Halo is the #1 priority for you to get rid of. Like we were mentioning earlier, you can get your targets, but you need to figure out which ones are the best to eliminate, to take out in the next fight, and in this one, it's Halo. Take out Halo and you can win this fight. Get rid of that sound barrier. But Washington Timeless needs to do this to perfection to get rid of Halo, even try to draw out that beat if possible.
Sound barrier is up for Halo. 60 seconds left. Washington Timeless, if they want to extend this series, need to go 27 meters and then some from where they sit right now. Bob available for Snozzlor, and it's going to be immediately called into the fight here to try and make a difference. There's that sound barrier, not able to eliminate Halo in time, as Snozzlor's Bob will go down. Mauler has the sound barrier in response. Kitsune Rush going to be used by Aramori. They want to run down Washington Timeless to the side of Valiant Guardians, trying to kill as much clock as possible. Snozzlor goes down, the sound barrier comes out, as well as the Kitsune Rush, but it's a 5-on-4 for Valiant Guardians with just 30 seconds left. Bun with a massive elimination. Can Washington Timeless keep this map going? As Moving Fishes reset, we see X10 and HK both just barely surviving. Sniper able to get a massive elimination. They're running out of time right now, Sneaky, because not only did they barely win this fight, they still have a ton more distance to cover.
Yeah, they've got to win at least one more fight here to take this, but Moving Fish will have this Rampage on Haley already with 50% to that beat. Is going to be risky, as that amp heal is going to go crazy, as Washington Timeless's Sniper will fall really low here. Washington Timeless trying to get this checkpoint, but then it's going to sit there for about 7 seconds before even able to get in.
Oh, X10 starts the fight and might have ended it right away with a kill on the Snozzlor. Bun gonna go down as well with an assist from Bob. There's the Blade, and there's the game. Team kill Valiant Guardians, and they are moving on to the grand finals tomorrow.
Yes, they are. The Valiant Guardians did take this victory 3-1. Very, very well played coming out from the Valiant Guardians. Washington Timeless, they got close. They showed the weakness that these powerhouse teams have. They weren't quite able to take them. And I believe that means that Washington Timeless will be going up against potentially Drainers again in the losers finals, depending on who wins that Drainers match later. But Fish, that was a very incredible performance from both of these teams. Washington Timeless really showing that Valiant Guardians can definitely be taken down.
I think that's the biggest thing if you're Washington Timeless, right? As you said, they are going to drop down to those lower finals, but they only have to win one game. Everybody else tomorrow between Drainers, and I believe we have one game match still going, so if they're winning is that. They have to win 2. And as you said, they proved we can find ways to beat Valiant Guardians. Now, Control definitely needs some work. Numbani, so one-sided, it's not even funny. Potentially, maybe even we see Valiant Guardians decide to swap off Numbani if this is our matchup in the grand finals. But it's where can they find that other win to get to Escort? And while they couldn't do it, I think they proved on Flashpoint and Push, they're really, really close to finding ways to stop Valiant Guardians. It's just they need to put 1 or 2 things together. But I would not be shocked if Washington Timeless gets us to a Game 5 tomorrow if they make it back to the grand finals against Valiant Guardians.
Oh, yes, 100%. It is entirely possible for Valiant Guardians to even lose this entire tournament, right? Washington Timeless and then Drainers. Both of these teams are very, very strong, especially seeing at how strong Drainers is on the control base points, how strong Washington Timeless is on these payload base points. Really, the only point that I would truly say that Valiant Guardians looked dominant on outside of control is Push. And that's the one that was sort of iffy between Washington Timeless and Drainers earlier today. So Valiant Guardians in a very, very good spot, but as you mentioned, shows weakness. They are not unbeatable. Washington Timeless being another team that took a map off of them. Drainers and Washington Timeless being those 2 teams. So if you're Valiant Guardians, you're happy you won that. You're happy you're moving on to the grand finals and you guaranteed top 2. But you're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, the one positive for Valiant Guardians, they get to sit back tomorrow. There's going to be 2 more matches where there's tournament lives on the line where you're just sitting back and waiting. I think that is a big difference from them and Washington Timeless and Drainers and potentially our 4th team. We have Strix Bad Blood and Vancouver Titans Blue currently playing right now. If that match finishes before we go off on the stream, we'll let you know who advances in that 4th team. But again, as much credit we're giving to Washington Timeless, the top team remains the top team. Valiant Guardians looked incredibly strong. Again, maybe we go off Numbani. It's about the only thing you can say, but it felt like when they went Mir, they dominated Washington Timeless. When Timeless tried to go a little off meta, Valiant Guardians knew the counter. This is a team that, even though we're almost hard on them for losing a map, still looks really, really strong.
Yes, entirely. And I've got to give such credit to Aramari on that Kiriko, on that Ana. That flex support in general was just incredible. No matter what support it was, just pure annoyance really is what it comes down to. With the anti-nades, with the cleanses, staying safe at all times, no matter what Washington Timeless did, it was always Aramari who was safe, just chilling in the back lines until the time came to where the support needed to come in clutch, and it happened a lot of times. So major credit to Aramari tonight.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to hear maybe from Aramori. I do believe we have an interview lined up with hopefully someone from Valiant Guardians. We will take a quick break. We'll hear from our team advancing to the grand finals, and we'll put a nice bow on this Saturday of Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. We'll be right back to wrap this one up. Welcome back to Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Done with our action for the day, but of course, as I said last time, you heard all match long from Sneaky and myself. Let's hear from one of the players involved, HKey, joining us to break it all down. HKey, congratulations to you and your team on moving on to the grand finals. What are the emotions? What's it like right now knowing that you are one more series away from being champions of this minor number 2?
Hi, thanks for having me. It's amazing. My team is just so wonderful. We have so much positive energy between us, so much happiness, and it's really just an amazing team to be on. I'm ecstatic that we're all going to be going to grand finals. I have had a lot of faith in the team from when we first created it, and I'm just really happy to be here. Also, pretty tired because I'm one of the shout comers on that team, so I'm a little out of gas.
Hey, well, at least you guys are done for the day. But quickly, run me through what the Valiant Guardians were thinking about after the Numbani match. Because you guys only dropped one match during the Swiss stage. So coming into this one, losing one map to Washington Timeless, what was the thought process after the Numbani match thinking, we just lost this one?
I'd say we were pretty calm because Numbani was also the map that we lost in the Swiss stage. And with how the match format is, it goes from King of the Hill to Hybrid and then Flashpoint and Push. And the thing about it is Hybrid and like Escort, they have a lot of room for, some people would say creativity, other people would say cheese. But for the other points where there's one single objective that you're both fighting over at the same time, it really allows us to play Junker Queen comp. And it's really just about how well you can win those team fights, how good your fundamentals are. And we knew we would shine there. We knew that's what our specialty was. So we were pretty confident.
Fair and HK, I'll let you go, let you celebrate with your team after this. Is there any added pressure on the fact that your team's undefeated, that everyone knew coming out of the Swiss stage that there's one team to beat and it's Valiant Guardians? Has that added any pressure, or is the team basically just said, it doesn't matter what our Swiss record was, we're just going to take this one game at a time like you've done so far today?
For me personally, that is something that I do get a little nervous about because before in one of the previous Calling All Heroes tournaments, I have also been first place in the Swiss stage and then ended up second place, in the finals. So that's something, it's a little scary, but I love my team so much. I trust them so much, and they're really they reassure me. They make me feel strong. So I'm confident now.
Well, HK, congratulations to you and your team. You're in the grand finals. Get some rest, get prepared, and we cannot wait to see you hopefully not go from that first to second finish. Hopefully take it all the way home tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Have a nice night.
You as well.
They're confident, but they know Sneaky. They know there's a target there. You look in that loss column, you see the 0, and you're like, I want to be the first team to hand that loss to Valiant Guardians, but they look so strong. But as we put a bow on all of our live games tonight, let's take a look at the brackets. Let's take a look at where we stand going into tomorrow. We started the day with 8 teams in our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2. Valiant Guardians quickly ran through everybody on their side of the bracket. Washington Timeless had an amazing series against Drainers that we were able to see, and now it is Valiant Guardians in the grand finals. But of course, it was double elimination. Everybody but Valiant Guardians got a chance at second life, and now let's see how that lower bracket has gone. You can see Drainers still alive, and Strix Bad Blood and Vancouver Titans Blue, they're heading to map 5, Sneaky. So when we come back tomorrow, only one of those teams will have still had a shot, and it will be very exciting because we've seen the top 3 teams. We've seen Drainer, we've seen Washington Timeless, and we've seen Valiant Guardians. We did not get a chance to see either Strix Bad Blood or Vancouver Titans Blue. So very excited to see how those lower semis and lower finals go, but 4 teams will stay alive after tonight is all said and done. But it's all said and done for us, Sneaky. Your final thoughts on our 2 series and what we should see going into tomorrow's grand finals and more.
I think if this is any correlation of what we're going to see tomorrow, it's going to be competitive, and we're going all the way guaranteed. Fish, during the Swiss stage, you and I both were looking for a map 4. I'm looking for a map 6. I'm looking for a map 6 going into tomorrow's matches. See what we could get, with Molly, with Tiny Shiny, and with Nerdy on the desk tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing what happens. But I can guarantee what we will see is some more Junker Queen, without a doubt. I mean, it's... Yeah. The battle cattle is gone. We're going to see Junker Queen, and I think that's all we're going to really end up seeing tomorrow, which is perfectly fine.
I cannot wait. Again, And no offense to Strix Bad Blood or Vancouver Titans Blue, we just simply didn't see you, so we cannot comment on what your teams look like.
Yes.
I'm not shocked if it's Drainers or Washington Timeless, at least from what we've seen today in those grand finals. And I'm not shocked if we get a game 5 or maybe a game 6, as you said, in those grand finals for one of those teams. Or maybe it is even Strix Bad Blood or Vancouver Blue Titans. This, again, as you said, it feels like we're going to have a very competitive game. But that is all for us. As Sneaky said, Tiny, Shiny, and Nerdy will have the wrap up of this tournament tomorrow. Prize money, points, it's all going to be here. So make sure you come back same time as today as our Calling All Heroes Unite Minor 2 comes back with the grand finals, the lower finals, and so much more you don't want to miss. So that'll do it for my Sneaky and my Selfish. Have a good evening, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.